Hello, good evening, and welcome to the first edition of the 2018 Cantina MX podcast. 2018, a very important year, Año Mundialista, World Cup year for most countries. 32 of them to be specific. There are a couple of countries that won't be in, but there are 32 that will be in, and it's a very big year for those countries. Some countries are making their debuts. Some are hoping to exceed expectations. Some obviously are favorites, and some are hoping that they don't shoot themselves in the foot when they get to Russia. But it's also another season of Mexican soccer. We have the Clausura 18 season is upon us. Tigres champions. Once again, their third consecutive Apertura championship. They beat Pumas, they beat America, they beat Guadalajara. So that only means that next year it's going to be Tigres Cruz Azul in the Apertura 18 final. But I digress. We are getting a little ahead of ourselves. But I do want to say thank you all for joining us. A very happy New Year to everybody. We can kick 2017 to the curb and start off 2018 hopefully with a bang. Hopefully for most of us. My name is John Jagu. I really appreciate y'all joining us this evening. I know we had a bit of a long layoff, but we are back and we'll be powering through weekly, and then probably doing some special editions as we push forward through this. The year that we all look forward to as soccer fans, the World Cup year. It's going to happen in mid-June, and please join us on Cantina MX for all of that. Hopefully, we'll make it a little more entertaining for you. We have with us tonight, as I'm sure our regulars will pull their stools up to the bar, but we do have a couple with us right now out in California. We have Joel Aceves. Joel, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Hola, John. Happy New Year.
Great to have you with us, Joel. Are your expectations heightened, tempered, or muted for Chivas?
Tempered, John.
Tempered.
I hope at the end of last season, but throughout preseason and just what's been going on these past few days, outlook looks grim.
Yeah. See, now normally, Joel, when I introduce you, I'd always give you, the. But it doesn't sound like that Chivas deserves that right now. So maybe what we need to do when we introduce Chivas is to go ahead and do that, just to get them, get their ire up a little bit. No, but we do. Glad to have you with us, Joel. Well, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We do have with us over in the greater New York metropolitan area, Rigo El Raton Ayala joins us. He's braving the nor'eastern to come on with us, and apparently braving a cold. Now, Rigo, thank you very much for joining us. Happy New Year. I do have a very quick question before you say hello. Have you been sick since Chivas did not come through for you in your prediction that they would win the Clausura 17 championship?
What's really funny to me is that I'm very surprised that Chivas was not allowed to play in the Apertura tournament. They just weren't allowed to play last season. It's like it was just wasted. I don't know what happened. So I'm glad that they're actually back now in the league. And last season, I don't know what happened. It's just a blip in the radar. And
but have you been sick since then, or is this sickness?
This is actually due.
Go ahead.
This is just due to. It's actually just started yesterday, and then I'm actually live from the blizzard. I'm sitting on a pile of snow outside.
Really?
And,
how many inches have you received tonight?
Oh, let me tell you, it's been about. I probably got about 9 to 10 inches.
Hello, BBC.
Just 9 inches. That's that is. Well, we'll have to compare notes with our other folks on the Northeast as they hop on. No, I mean we had a dusting here in Austin at Chiquisua. It was during the first leg of the Clausura, the Regia final, and in Austin we get 1 inch, and it's like the whole area just paralyzes. You go to the store, and it looks like a Category 5 hurricane is coming. The shelves are empty. The really funny thing though is that around here, I don't know why, but there's a mad rush on chili meat. people make chili around here when it gets cold, and I don't have to tell y'all what happens when you eat spicy food. You sweat, right?
Yeah.
So why on earth would we eat chili when it's cold? Because all you do is you just sweat and you just end up getting colder. We're not so obviously we don't know how to handle the cold. But glad to have you with us, Rodrigo. I know that
Wait,
you're gonna judge.
John,
Yes,
John,
yeah.
on that note, then kind of makes sense now. A lot of Mexican moms make caldo. It's hot.
They do. I'm not a big fan of caldo.
You don't like sopitas?
Not really. Only if they're like New England clam chowder or like
Man, I have sopitas like twice a week.
like lobster bisque.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how often can you make yourself a nice
Lobster
cup of
bisque.
lobster bisque?
Yeah, no, not often. So that's why I'm just.
Are you a sherry man with your lobster bisque or not a sherry man?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, glad to have you with us, Rodrigo. Now we do have someone else who's joined us out in California, in Escondido to be exact. Now a man who I haven't had a chance to ask him about this because we have been off for 3 weeks, but we'll ask him here in a second. Daniel Prasad joins us from Escondido. Daniel, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy to be here. Glad to be back on the podcast. It's been a while.
We missed you, Dan.
I missed you guys. I missed the weekly shenanigans, and my wife wanted to send a message that this last month has been one of her favorites. She actually likes me around. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Well, we
might have
to.
I missed your voice, Dan.
Do we need to have
That's
her committed?
nice.
Dan, do we need to have her committed? At least checked out?
No. I mean, me dio permiso, dude. I mean, so we can't complain.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I understand. Well, Dan, the question I want to ask you before we jump in and just give us your boy got transferred to Chivas. So, what's going to happen when he's like the big time goal scorer?
Well, I guess right now I'm kind of concerned that Chivas is trying to become the new Club America, in their trying to pillage my team.
Whoa.
We'll see how that plays out.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
are you going to be jealous, or are you going to be happy for the kid if he has like a 7-8 goal season?
Well, seeing as that I've been rooting for Darwin and Uribe ever since they left, I'll probably be rooting for him as well.
And as bad as things look for strikers for Mexico in the World Cup, I mean, let's be honest. Any Mexican striker, all 6 of them or whatever it is, they're playing Liga MX. If any one of those guys gets hot, they're going to Russia, regardless of who it is, because Mexico just doesn't. We'll talk about that as well tonight. But without further ado, I think that we can't start. We cannot start a Cantina MX podcast with at least jumping in and talking about Chivas.
Chivas. Don't make me laugh.
Now, don't be rude. Don't be rude. We have to. Now, my question to the Chivas boys is Osvaldo Alanis, and maybe you guys can help you out if I don't get the details right. His contract is up, not now, but in 6 months. They said we want you to renew, but we only want you to renew for 6 months. He's like, dude, if I'm going to renew, I'm going to renew for 3 years. It's a negotiation, right? And they said, well, thanks, but no thanks. You're not going to renew for 3 years. You're not going to renew. In fact, not only that, you'll have your contract, but we're not even going to play you. And that's that, apparently. And he's not going to go to another team. The relationship has completely collapsed. Good move, bad move. Chivas front office. Rigo, go first.
I think it was a bad move by the Chivas front office. I think they completely just mishandled this whole situation. And I don't think, and it wasn't needed, being that we just had a terrible season. And we needed to go into the season with not so much, just without the extra media attention. I mean, we already get a ton of media attention, but now this is going to be locker room talk every week. and it was just I think they just completely mishandled his situation. The front office should have looked to re-sign him months ago. They didn't, and then the whole sending him to second division was just bad.
Where they sent him to like Petroleros de Salamanca, then he got sent to second division. Where'd he go?
Yeah, it was like, why are you doing that? Like, they could have easily, all right, he had a really bad season where he was not playing well.
Well, tell me what Chivas player had a good season last season? Honestly,
No, but I mean, it wasn't just with Chivas; it was with the national team. Like, he just wasn't good last season. As a guy who is supposedly a national team central defender, like, he just was not good.
right? Well,
So
here's the thing. Couldn't Chivas have said? I mean, hey, we got your 6 years, or your 6 months left in your contract. We're not going to re-sign you, but hey, well, go ahead and and play with us. Play your ass off, because we might it might end up working real well for the both of us at the end of those 6 months.
I think the biggest mistake was sending him to second division. I think they could have handled it differently. I think if they really didn't want him to play, they could have kept him on the team, and they just could have lied.
Well, like use him for the Conca Champions or anything.
Yeah,
Joel, good move or bad move for Chivas on this whole Alanis thing?
No, it's bad. It's bad. It also shows, the disconnect between the coach Almeida and Higuera, who is in charge of player transfer. So that's always an issue. Right? It's going to be an issue. And just an hour ago, Vergara tweeted that he was going to get to the bottom of it. He said, that he's not happy with the way that the whole Alanis situation has been handled.
How is the owner unaware of the situation that he has to get to the bottom of it?
He's been disconnected, believe it or not. Dan, he just left the team to Higuera, he's pretty much been in charge since he even before Higuera came on board, because he had let De La Torres control the team.
It's funny you mention that, Joel, about the owner, because I do have one of our good friends of the show, El Codazo, Elbow Drop, posted this for us. This was a retweet from Jorge Vergara, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it's in Espanol, so for you folks who don't speak Spanish, let us know. We'll translate. But this is verified. It's got the little blue check mark. It says, "Ha sido desafortunado el manejo del tema sobre Osvaldo Alanís. No refleja la filosofía del grupo OmniLife Chivas, donde somos gente que cuida a la gente, y tengan por seguro que tomaré medidas para sancionar a los responsables. Haremos todo posible para que Alanis cumpla sus sueños." So I think that speaks directly to the disconnect that you were talking about, Joel.
Yeah, and there was rumors. There's been rumors already for months on between Almeida and Higuera not getting along. And I do think when we hear stuff like Leicester, I don't know how to pronounce that. Leicester.
Just say Leicester.
Leicester.
Just say
Leicester. Whatever, man. That EPL club. Apenas voy segundo año de ESL. Ténganme paciencia, chavos. But yeah, when we see something like that, to me, it's just Almeida's agent. Because you could just pay for even when we were, you could just pay to have an article printed, just to create hype.
It's really
some type of music.
It's really the only way that we generate hype for Cantina MX is to say that we're linked to other clubs and other podcasts. So yeah, it's a tactic that is used very well.
See, with San Lorenzo, that was like, anyone that saw that knew that was pretty, like, not really news when San Lorenzo was saying it's either San Lorenzo or Independiente, that they wanted to go after Almeida, and he has this release clause that's about $5 million. So it was like, you just know it's it's wishful thinking. Like it shouldn't even be news. But it's I think it serves a purpose. Um, so I do think Almeida's been trying to probably leave, but I don't think he's gotten any offer that's
Well,
better
the only
than.
way that he's going to leave and get a better offer is if Chivas wins. That's the only way that that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think and I think it's why he would want to leave is because his relationship with Higuera is probably broken, and he's the guy he has to deal with more.
Well, if you were the GM, and I'll ask both of you the question, how Rodrigo already said that he would have probably approached Alanis a little earlier in the season to extend the deal, or maybe even before it would even have come up. Well, what would you have done? Would you let him walk after 6 months? What is your
no,
take?
well, I no, you approach the coach, and you see you see if he's in the plans. I think a player like Alanis, yeah, he had a bad season, but a season in Mexico, that's only 6 months.
Right.
He wasn't bad the whole time.
He's going through a rough patch.
Yeah, so I mean, it happens. So I wouldn't want to like discredit a player just for like one bad tournament.
And a lot of times, and I don't know if Chivas did this, but usually teams and I'm going to just call this midseason because that's really what it is. After the first one, they send out their lista transferibles, right? And if a team had a really good, todos están en la lista transferibles. Did Chivas send out their lista transferir and was Osvaldo on it? I mean, did they send that message? Did they even do that at all?
On it.
Okay. And no one.
They tried to. No, Querétaro wanted him, but Alanis didn't want to go there. They also tried to sell him to
Querétaro
Monterrey.
is a fine city. That'd be. So they did try, but he wants to go. No, I guess this is the part that I don't understand. And maybe some Chivas fans are blaming the player or whatever. But why on earth would a player do this to himself? A national team player. I mean, he went to the Confed Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he is. If there were a 30-team list, his name's going to be on it. Why would he do this to himself? To be able to have that opportunity. It just.
I mean, to be honest, he is only helping himself because what he's saying is, I don't want to go to a small club. I want to stay at Chivas, and I want to stay here for another 3 years. So it's making himself look. I mean, in the public, he's making himself look better. Aside from the fact that he's asking for more money, but still, the club's the one that's making themselves look bad. He's entitled to ask for. Yeah, no, he is. He's entitled to ask for more money. He's entitled to ask for the contract that he wants.
So boys, has this broken Chivas because of this rift at the beginning of the season? Is the locker room damaged beyond repair, and it's time to just change everything because they're going to have another season without making the postseason, or are they going to turn it around and by the end of it, all you mofos are going to be. So,
I'm optimistic that they're going to turn it around. I don't think.
Dude, you're always optimistic.
Well, I mean, I watched the games. Like I watched the play. Even last season, I thought that it was the injuries that really hurt him.
And he's been injured for the better part of the last 2 years at least.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm talking about just in general, not Alanis.
Well, no, but specifically, Alanis has also been part of that. Yeah. So it's not like he's been.
To me, the biggest thing that they needed to get this off season was another defender, because between Alanis and Jair Pereira, they were always, one of them was always injured.
Right.
And now with Alanis not being there, like that was key. So I don't know what they're gonna do to replace Alanis, which is another one of the things that is just weird about this, is like, you need a defender, so why not play the second best defender that you have if he's available to you? So that's another thing that's weird about this situation, is like, you're being this petty, like you don't want to play him because he doesn't want to sign an extension for 6 months.
Joel, any extra cancha business going on with this whole Alanis thing, or is it strictly business?
No, there is. Well, the extra cancha was that Vergara had asked Higuera to he said the payroll was too high, so they needed to cut costs. So let's say that was one of the big reasons for getting rid of Gallito. It was over wages, and that it was supposedly the thing with
Well,
Alanis.
well,
They don't
wouldn't
want to
that be
meet his
a
wage
result
demand.
of overpaying for the players and honestly, I mean, they have no choice but to overpay for players. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
their
I do
personnel
think,
policy dictates that.
but you could see the hot potato. How they're
Passing the blame.
how, yeah, because Almeida was on the news talking about this the issue, and he said Alanis is not going to play because we can't. If a player has 6 months left, you know, it doesn't make sense for us to play him. So any
Yeah,
player that
well,
only has
that
6 months,
that
and
is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
and they just recently signed Cota for a 6 month
6 months,
loan extension,
right?
which to me, you know, we're not getting that player. I think we should have just gone with the goalkeepers we have, and I think that it could hurt the development, of them. We're not keeping Cota, man. He's Grupo Pachuca is salty over what happened in that voting, and and so I think
Well,
they could
I'm
have seen.
surprised. I guess they only gave him the 6 months because Conejo said this is my last
Yeah,
season. So then
no, no,
they'll
but
make
but
the switch
but
after
you're
that.
Chivas. You're trying to cut wages. Those wages could have gone to helping Alanis or maybe even keeping Gallito longer. I mean, you don't want to get rid of national team caliber players.
No, not in caliber,
And it
national
does,
team players. Period, both of them.
yeah, especially in a season following season, you don't want to get rid of some of your more experienced players, and now they got a couple young guys, but they're not that. They don't have that many games, so who knows?
So
Who knows
bold
how they'll do?
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah. So it sounds to me, Joel, that you're bearish then on your Chivas.
I'm looking at the calendar, and yeah, I think Chivas is gonna have a bumpy ride, and uh, I would at this point I would have them not qualifying again, but just given how hectic Liga MX could be, like you could just win like 4 games, 3 games in a row, and you're back on. But I
Who's
see
going to come to the
Chivas
rescue?
struggling.
Who's going to come to the rescue? Chivas is going to be Danny's boy Ronaldo. He's going to do it for Chivas.
No, wait, but Chivas' first 4 games of the season, they're all going to be tough games.
What are the first 4 games, Joel?
Away at Toluca, so it's always in Infierno.
Probably the toughest away game in Liga MX consistently.
Yeah, Chivas has always struggled there, which made winning the campeonato there that much sweeter, And then they host Cruz Azul, and then they go away to Necaxa, and then they host Monterrey. So it's those first 4 games they could set the tone. And then,
do you think that Chivas is going to pay the iron price for one of their off-season moves against Cruz Azul?
I think not having Gallito and then possibly not playing Alanis, those are 2 like veteran players that you need. Now I think it could hurt the team, but I mean.
Yeah, but specifically against Cruz Azul, you think they're gonna pay the iron price?
Oh, because of Gullit. I don't know if that's
because of
a done deal.
Carlos Fierro is
that's right.
A cementero.
Yeah, that I forgot about Charlie Iron. Who knows, man? I don't think he's gonna be a starter. He'll get some playing time.
All right.
But I think Gullit has been the noticia lately.
Yes, let's talk about it. So I guess he never quite developed the taste for haggis there in Scotland. Carlos El Hulit. Is it El Hulit or El Gullit? Because I know that in Holland you pronounce the G's like H's. So it's not Louis van Gaal, it's Louis van Gaal. and it's not Rud Gullit, it's Rud Hullit. So do you go with how the Dutch pronounce it, or do you do it, whatever way you go and you just call him El Gullit? Well,
I went
regardless,
mullet. I said mullet.
El Mullet, El Mullet. He has a
that's
mullet
so close.
and a Jerry curl. So what would be the third thing to have, like the bad haircut trifecta for Hullit? What would he need to do that?
To make it look even worse,
Yeah.
maybe a lineup.
What if he like painted it like put like a blonde streak in it or something, or actually just went blonde altogether?
Business in the front. John, I would have kept him at Chivas, man.
You know, he should go with the Tong Po look. Are you guys familiar with the Tong Po look?
No. What is it? What is the Tong Po look?
Tong Po is a character from Kickboxer. Too bad Ronnie's not here. He'd be all over this.
Well, hang on a second.
Oh, he is here. That's right.
Hang on a second.
You bleed like my lead, John.
Joining us from I'm assuming a freshly snowed Philadelphia.
Yes,
Ronnie, how many inches did you take, Ronnie?
I can only take up max 7.
Max 7.
Hello, BBC.
So
no, it was between 6
Que
and 7.
poco aguante, güey.
so you got 7 inches. You got 7 inches in Philadelphia. Rigo got 8 inches. So I guess the further north he goes, it's getting worse.
Yes.
I thought
So
he said 9.
So 7 inches, and it's like 10 degrees on top of it. So it's just miserable.
Yeah, it sucks.
Going from 7 to 9 is drastic.
It is true.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
You really have to grip with the snow tires when you go from 7 to 9.
You know, people say like, what's one more inch? Well, I mean, that's the difference between a happy marriage and a divorce. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
It's true. It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah, but it's the wind chill, man. That's what's killing me, man. It's pretty bad.
You know, I've only been in crazy cold just a few times in my life. The last time was a couple years ago. I had to go to Des Moines because I had 3 college basketball games there, like 3 weeks in a row, and I got really lucky on the first 2. It was like in the 20s, which is not is livable. But the last time I was there, it was like -3, and I'd never done that before. I mean, I've never been anywhere near that cold. And what I found, I don't know if you guys is it just breathing is hell. It is so hard to breathe, and if you have to be out there an extended period of time, I mean, your lungs start freezing. I mean, it starts burning because it's like Novocaine almost. It is just miserable. I don't know how y'all do it. That's why I live in Texas. But anyway, Ron Dan had a question about Kickboxer.
Yes,
and
please. I was just thinking that for Gullit, how I pronounce it, Gullit, with the hard G. I think he'd look pretty fierce if he went with the Tong Po look. It's all shaved except that one patch of really long hair in the very back.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like and like in the middle of the head, not the Texas Cholo look where it's like a ducktail.
Right.
Not that look.
You're just like completely shaved except like the very bottom where it's like
not the bottom. It's actually like at the crown.
Okay.
The crown of his head. Yeah. Long and braided.
I approve.
Yeah.
I approve. I don't know why Gullit doesn't go.
He would look a lot tougher because this look just makes him look just a little on the greasy side.
Now he's going to be. He's going to be at Cruz Azul. Now Hullit is another player who, if he catches fire, and I'm going to have to ask you all this question. I guess this is a good time to ask it. Is at every World Cup, there's always one guy that goes nuts and ends up making the World Cup team. We had Gallito in 2014. Hullit for that matter. He had a couple but specific. And then in 2010 it was Chicharito. In 2006 it was Guardado. So there's always like someone that comes out of nowhere. So could Hullit be the guy that comes out of nowhere to make the team?
No.
I think Osorio, the fact that Europe didn't pan out, I don't think he's going to consider him.
y la Cruz Azuleó.
That's very disappointing for.
And seriously, what are the chances that he's going to just light it up? I mean, you're asking for a lot of stars to align.
I mean, he can. His first season at Chivas, he scored about 12 goals.
From
I'm
penalty
just saying,
kicks.
it's a new coach, he's going to be adjusting to a new environment where he's probably going to be getting a lot of the attention that he doesn't necessarily like. Playing for Cruz Azul, similar to his experience playing with Chivas. Meaning, at minimum, I think it's safe to expect. It's reasonable to expect a bit of adjustment for him. I don't think he's gonna put up the kind of numbers that are even gonna.
So you're saying
give him a sniff.
All right, Dan. So who's just off the top of your head? Who's your guy that's gonna come out of nowhere to make the team?
Not necessarily a forward, right?
Could be anybody. Yeah, just anybody.
I'm gonna say the Monterrey kid, the American, Jonathan
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Okay.
That'll be my prediction.
Well, he was already spurned by the U.S., so there's I might say bad blood, but there's certainly an opening.
It's kind of hard to sense the context and the tone that he had when he made the comment. But I mean, from what little I've read of it, there's a slight tinge of butthurt in his response, and it seems like he was a bit felt slighted, and not being called up to the Portugal friendly, and seeing as that there are, like, if he couldn't get a sniff at that game, considering their circumstances, maybe he's like, screw it, at least maybe I get a shot and maybe go to an actual World Cup. So I think there's a good chance, and there's a strong argument for him. I guess if he's going through that little debate with himself, that it looks promising for Mexico.
Now, of course, when asked about Gonzalez, Ricardo Osorio said he's a terrific midfielder. Where of course he's in a position of need because he plays the defensive midfielder that Mexico, right now just doesn't really have. So, of course, Osorio said, but I see him playing a little further up the pitch. So right off the bat, he's gonna play him out of position if he does end up getting called to the national team.
Well, why change his methods now, right?
Right. Ochoa is a fantastic goalkeeper. I really want to see what he can do on the wings. Anyway, so you say Jonathan Gonzalez. Joel, actually, I'll ask Rodrigo next because I know that we'll. Which Chiva do you think Rodrigo is gonna be the surprise national team player? Because I know you're not picking anybody else.
But you're asking me.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about this. I would love it for Chofis to make the World Cup.
No, apparently we're not allowed to call him Chofis anymore.
Oh.
So we are
Lalo. I'm sorry, Lalo.
The trophy chasing that you and I have done over the past year is officially dead. We can no longer trophy.
But his Instagram handle has trophies on it.
It still has trophies.
So what? He's outgrown it. Is that what he's claiming?
Dad said that you have to call him Lalo now. You can't call him trophies.
Yeah. I don't even know what his
by
name
his
is.
dad.
I just know him by trophies. What is it like?
What a bunch of nonsense.
Eduardo.
Was he Eduardo Lopez or was it or Gomez? Seriously, I don't. Is it Lopez? So he's now.
I knew a promoter guy once named Jojo. We all liked him. Really good guy. But after a while, he insisted on being called Joe, and I always kind of resented that.
I feel like you can't just call you something. It just makes it worse.
Like I mean, if you get a nickname, just write it, man.
Yeah, just accept it. Because if you try to fight it, it makes it worse.
So your guy is Lalo Lopez. Is your choice?
Man,
can we at least call him Wallo? I mean, isn't Wallo an acceptable nickname for Eduardo also? Could we call him El Wallo Lopez, just so that
Why don't we just call him Messi 2.0?
What? His name was La Chofis. His name after a girl, so La Chofis.
Yeah.
Right, because Chofis is a nickname for Sofia.
Yeah, but I think if he was balling, he would have been Don Chofis. But he's never been to that point.
No. So I like
Black Chofis.
I like your choice. Joel, who is your
Oh man, you're gonna be surprised there, Yon.
Hit me.
Henry Martin, man.
Okay, I like the pick. Henry Martin just went from Cholos to Club America, and
Club
if I'm not
America.
mistaken, in Houston actually played pretty well against Toluca in the little preseason.
Yeah, he's been kept before, so it's not completely out of the blue, but he's demonstrated that he has potential, that he has, he could fight for a spot. But I think being with a coach that believes in you, I think that
Right.
makes a big
And
difference.
he's coming off. He had a torn ACL, did he not? So he's coming off a big time injury. So, I mean, we really haven't seen him in a year.
That was the player Chivas was targeting. I don't know what happened. He ended up at America, I guess, because Piojo,
Right, because Piojo
got
had
the
him
Santos
at
kid.
Cholos.
Yes.
So, all right. Joel says Henry Martin. Ron, have you've had a chance to stew this over? What there's
Oh
always
yeah, I saw the America game where they beat Toluca.
yeah. How
4-0. Actually, it looks like Toluca was playing better at the beginning, and even when America, it seemed to me that even when America was winning 2-0, Toluca was trying to. I mean, granted, Piojo was playing the counter and stuff like that, but the goals. I mean, Oribe basically tapped one in. There was one goal that was really nice. The one from Jesus, I forget, Martin, I think. But I don't know. It's just the team still looked a little. Granted, it's off season and stuff like that. I'm not trying to, I wasn't expecting them to be, in half season mode and stuff like that. But
right.
I don't know. If I'll give my prediction now, if Liga Bancomer, which I heard that they're going to do it, if they do implement VAR and the field is level with the officiating, America will win it.
Okay. Well, we were asking you about a surprise player, but we'll write that down.
Yeah.
I thought the VAR was coming in the next apertura.
I think I read that from Bricio that they're trying to get it for this.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. I think you're saying that when it's a level playing field and they can't screw America, America is going to win hands down.
Yeah.
Because America is so the prejudice against America is so severe that the only way that they could ever win a championship is to make sure that they have video. What if there's the ref makes a really bad call and there's no controvertible evidence on the cameras to show what had happened?
Photoshop. Photoshop. No. Right. No, I was reading that two of they were handing out the FIFA credentials for the officials, and two of them Delgadillo and I forget the other one, Junco or something like that. They didn't renew their FIFA.
Yeah, Chacon didn't get renewed.
Yeah. And from what I read, it was that whole little incident that they caused last season when they decided to sit out the game. I think it was in week 10 or week 9 or something like that because they were protesting the decision from Bola Aguilar and I forget the other player. Apparently, CONCACAF is the one that denied the FIFA credentials, but there's rumors that it was on the doing of the Mexican Federation that did not want to extend the FIFA creds to the officials.
So, do you think you get paid more if you have the FIFA cred on your uniform?
I'm not sure about paid. I mean, the way I've always understood that these guys have always had their full-time jobs, and for most part they're usually architects, engineers, and stuff like that. So I mean, they have to be okay somewhat economically to do this, on the side per se. But I've always been a proponent for these guys to be full time.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the only way. I mean, you guys got enough money. You guys, let them referee second division games during the week, or whatever it is. Just constantly keep them working. I agree. So now, Ron, I know that you were not with us on our World Cup show, so we'll have to make sure we get your predictions for that. But is there any player, Ron, that you see that's not necessarily on the national team radar that you think could come up and make a play for a spot?
I think Osorio would be foolish not to take Paul Aguilar. I think he's recouped his his level. I'd like to see him. I'm hoping that Goulet gets back to his Leon days, because I mean when he was with Leon, he was with his compadre. I mean, he had glimpses of both of them. Just impressive, vision on the field and stuff like that, passing, shooting.
And he scores goals, which is a huge plus.
Yeah, but from both sides, from his weak side and his good side. So I mean,
and he's a great header of the ball as well. So he's
I'm really hoping that he does pick up his game.
He gets his mojo back.
Yeah. But for me, I'd like to see. I mean, and I guess I'm a little selfish here, but I would like to see. I would like to see what Diego Lainez. That's who really I would rather have him get in there.
He certainly has the talent. I mean, obviously, I want to see Lainez do well, and I think that and obviously Piojo, again, as Joel has pointed out, has confidence in him. Right now we're watching a player where the coach has zero confidence in him, put him in positions to fail, so he can justify the zero confidence he has in him. But so it obviously does help that a coach has faith in you, and Herrera has faith in Lainez, and I do see Lainez getting more minutes, and he's certainly again playing a position where, hey, in the second half, if you need a goal, why not throw a kid in for 30 minutes? He doesn't know any better. Go do what you do. Who cares that you're going up against guys that make $10 million a year? So yeah, that would be an excellent. I would. Honestly, all of y'all's choices are all fantastic, and I wouldn't mind seeing anybody from that list on that team. I'm going to throw a couple names out there, just because we need the position, and I'm hoping and praying. But if Chaton can get it going at Puebla, why the hell not? I mean, he is, in a position of need. He would be a great guy that could do that. And then the other player is the kid for Chivas, the striker, the Ronaldo Cisneros. Mexico right now has a massive striker problem, massive. And to me, if somebody gets hot, anybody, it doesn't matter. You've got to because when those guys are hot, they're hot, and why not? So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Be the guy as well. So,
are you that concerned about striker?
Numbers, John.
Or I mean, even if it's Alan Pulido, I mean anybody, whoever gets hot, that guy needs to be on the World Cup team.
I ran the Cisneros numbers. They're not good, John.
Well, it doesn't matter whether they're good. Just he could, he's.
Well, yeah, he's not getting minutes though.
Right.
And if I don't know. I mean, I'm just not totally convinced he's going to get the kind of minutes that would that he would need.
Any, it could be Otoniel Arce. What if he? I think he's like a Monarcas or something like that. What if he, breaks and scores 10 goals and 12? I mean, I'm seriously. I mean, you why not? I mean, because I watched.
Well, if we're gonna go like super like in that direction, one guy who it's super premature, who I think probably has a bigger upside than Cisneros is the kid over at the Porto youth side. He's 18, goal scoring machine. Joao Malek. He's I guess half. His mom was Mexican. His father was I'm trying to remember where
Ghana or Cameroon or something.
Cameroon, I think. Yeah, he's Cameroonian. He played for Tecos, and he already has a pretty decent physique. So if he could somehow get promoted he'd be someone that I wouldn't mind seeing. I mean, but that's a super long shot.
Yeah, that's That is indeed a long shot. I was watching Última Palabra yesterday, and they had this graphic that I thought was real interesting. And they were talking about the Mexican strikers that are right now currently on teams in Liga MX. And out of the 18 teams, and I'm going to say 17 because obviously Chivas has, there were 4 other teams that had Mexican strikers on their roster. 4. So 4 out of 17.
I think it's just it's the league itself, like, because they bring in so many foreigners, doesn't allow for development.
Is First Division really the place for development?
No, I mean, yes and no, but if you don't give these guys an opportunity to play, how are you supposed to know they're good? It's like,
I just don't think the countries that
Cisneros.
I don't know. Like I hear that argument a lot. I mean, and it makes sense, but I'm just not totally convinced by it. I think it's a little bit more profound. I think there's more to it than that. I think there's a lack of players just there that are playing that position, and I think I'm not sure if it's the development before that point, but it seems like to be that there's a huge gap between the players, how they can look decent at the youth level, but look completely out of their element in Primera.
Ronnie, did you have something to say?
Yeah, if you were talking about the Premiership and the Football Association FA, yes, I would agree with with Dan that it's not it's not the it's not the club, the First Division's sole responsibility to develop players. That's what the FA is for. However, in Mexico's case and in Mexican football, the fact that the Mexican Football Federation and the Liga MX, although in theory are now separate, who still controls, the FMX? The owners. So I do think that the club First Division does have a responsibility to promote and to develop players. Now, if they were completely separate, yes, I would say, what if the Liga MX is a business. They're not, they don't have to produce players or they don't have to develop players, but it's the same people controlling, both entities. So when do you say, okay, no, it's not the responsibility of the clubs, and when do you say yes, it is? It's like
I think with rules like the 9-9 and wherever it is now, I mean, it's I think it's clear what their choice is.
Yeah,
well,
you're right.
They're going to have the 9-9 rule, but then they're also doing that. They're bringing back the 20-11. So
that's a good one.
Although I'm not sure what the minimum is, what the threshold is going to be for that.
Now, question, and all of you guys should be old enough to remember when we still had the presidential decree where it was 5 foreign players,
right?
In the Republic, and in Mexico City, it was 4. Now I go back to those days.
The are so good that they don't need that extra 4.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is the level of football that much better now than it was then? I would argue no. I would put up the teams then because they had better quality. They didn't have just quantity. And I look at I'm looking at the roster for America. I'm looking at Guido Rodriguez. I'm looking at Manuel Aguilera. I'm looking at William Da Silva. I'm looking at Mateus Uribe. I'm looking at Cecilio Dominguez. I'm looking at Joe Corona, which I don't consider, although I know he's an American, but I know he's Mexican American. But Bruno Valdez. I'm looking at Christian Paredes. I'm looking at Renato Ibarra, Darwin Quintero. Really, out of those, the only one that I would keep is the only 2 that I would keep, really, is Ibarra and Da Silva. The rest, to me, is like bleh. I mean, it's like this is supposed to be America, man. It's
but they're cheaper. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is it?
I understand that, but these guys are like bleh. It's like no.
They're just. I mean, I've been following the news for the past few days. with Cruz Azul, and they're announcing these names. And like, I have no idea who these guys are. Like, oh, he's I think Ron, you posted one that Santos signed some schlub that played in the second division in Ecuador or Chile or someplace.
In Peru, and he's 25 years old. It's like,
Yeah.
really? Okay, and I mean, maybe I should make that argument because what's his name, Sina came in like he was like a nobody. He was just a journeyman, from the second division. But how many Zinas do really come up,
Right.
So, but it's like I look a bunch of these foreigners, and it's like, really?
Monterrey has 11 Mexicans on their roster. So, cumplen con la regla, ¿verdad? La regla, what is it? 18 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just
I
barely.
think it's 9-9 now.
Just barely. So, 9-9. So, just barely. And the rest, I mean, and then they can carry, like 30 guys? So, they have 20 foreigners and 10 Mexicans on the team.
I mean, I will take the 2005 Club America, which had Piojo, Clever, Ricardo Rojas,
right?
over these guys. There was not one player that's like, you give me that 2005 team over this team any day.
Rojas, that was El Kevin, right?
No, Ricardo Rojas, the Chilean.
Oh, the Chilean. Right.
Well, what about the 94 America team? You could even...
Yeah,
the one Ben Hacker had when he first took over, and they played really good.
I'll be honest, Ron. That 94 team scared the piss out.
Those guys
were outstanding. That was the scariest Mexican team I think I've ever seen. Club team. They could have given a lot of teams.
Win, John.
I know.
And they didn't win the league title.
It's crazy.
They're like the 82 Brazil team. The team that was so good that just for some odd reason just.
Yeah, Billy, Kalusha, they had Luis Garcia.
The Olmo. They had
Cuauhtemoc. Gee, I mean, it was
really young Cuauhtemoc, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great lineup! What a great thing for him to be able to serve those guys. I mean, those guys that knew what he wanted to do, and guys that said, "Hey, man, what a great apprenticeship for him to have that kind of quality of player to serve."
Yeah, and we're talking about a club from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that team would compete real easily today.
Even the Necaxa team from the 90s.
That one for sure, dude. That one with.
I mean, it's like that's what I'm saying is like I'm looking at all these rosters from all these teams, and it kind of infuriates me because all I keep hearing in tweets and shows and stuff like that. Oh, la nueva bomba. We need so and so team needs that nueva bomba. It's like you need that.
We're getting a little shade, Ron. We're gonna get a little shade from the chat.
Oh.
MJP is wondering, oye, y Toluca 2002, ¿qué güey? And he's right. I mean, they were announced. I mean, we have spoken very highly of those Toluca teams on this podcast many times.
In this show, we've praised Cardoso, man. We rank him higher than what's his name?
Gignac.
No, than Gignac, because
of course.
He's gotten all this praise. And
30 goals in 17 games is really.
Well, it was his Liguilla goals that are off the charts. I mean, his Liguilla scoring record is he scored like 50 or 60 in the Liguillas that he played.
Hey, Joel, do you remember back in the day when that game where they beat America 6-0, and before the game I was talking smack that Loco Abreu was going to have a field day. And it's like, it's that money, it's that extra money, that America spent. And then like, boom, it's like America loses 6-0. And I remember you came back and were trolling me. It's like, maybe they forgot to cash the check.
You take it personally, Ronnie. I have a sense that you do not like losing to Toluca or to.
I don't.
No, more than any other team. For whatever reason, that's the team that you're like, no. It's interesting.
No, I don't. I hate it.
I have el diablo.
A lot of my family, in fact, most of my family, they're choriceros, because I have a lot of uncles, aunts and cousins that live, in Toluca proper and outside of Toluca. And stuff like that.
But back to your point though the point that we have about the league is, Okay, so these teams where there used to be what twenty between 20 and 25 Mexicans, on the roster. Now there's half that. So where could they
And
possibly go play if they're talented and they have a chance to play?
and here's the thing: we still spit on the league. Certain people in the press still spit on the league, and yet these guys want to go play abroad, go to. And I'm like, really? I said, unless you're going to go to Real Madrid, unless you're going to go to, and I know it sounds like it's a broken record, but unless you're going to go to Madrid, Barcelona, right, Manchester, Juventus, Inter Milan, nah, stay in Mexico. I don't.
But what about the player that doesn't have the talent to go play for those teams that's being frozen out because he's maybe not as expensive as fulano de tal from Asunción. Where can he go? I know where he can go. Joel, where can he go?
Right here across the street by my house, John.
That's right. Well, not just there. There's gonna be 3 more of them coming in. The college draft here at MLS can't really support that many teams.
Rigo is not having this. He's not even going to entertain the thought of Mexican players being developed in MLS.
Wow. No, well, I think Rigo, and we wish him well. Was he not only did he brave 9 inches of cold hard snow.
Dios mío.
He was under the weather. So we do thank Rigo, and he did get in his Chivas optimistic.
What was funny though is that when I tuned in, I jumped on the line a bit late. So, and obviously his voice sounds. At first I thought he was crying and he was talking about Alanis. I was like, man, he's really broken up about this.
He was very upset. He was very upset about it.
But he is upset, and just to, I know you didn't really. Just to get my little quick point about that whole thing, terribly handled by Chivas. I mean, and just because it also sends a message to every single one of the players that you don't mean shit. Like
right.
I mean, they just goes to show how expendable and that they're willing to just burn money just to spite a player if they don't do exactly as they're told. Just terrible. Yeah, if Vergara's smart, I think he probably should try to do something to try to fix something. Because,
well, now,
I don't know. If I was a player, I wouldn't want to play for an organization like that. That just makes it so blatantly obvious.
Joel, explain to me the current power structure at Chivas right now. So, is the team owned by Vergara or is it owned by OmniLife?
Oh, good. Well, it's Grupo.
Do we know?
Grupo Omni. No, I think he owns it because he's a majority shareholder.
Okay, so he's the majority owner. Okay.
But it's operated by OmniLife Chivas or Grupo something like that. It's called.
So who controls the board of directors there?
Hey, John.
It'll be him.
Yes, sir.
When the whole thing was going down with the previous ownership group.
No, I understand that. But
I remember Televisa Deportes actually got and this was obviously before YouTube. I wish I had where I could find the clip, but there were 3 people that were listed as the legal owners, and Vergara was one of them. I forget the other 2. So, I mean, I don't know if they've changed things since then, but as of like 2003 or 2004, the people that were on the Chivas de Corazón, S.A. de Sever, whatever, there were 3 people.
Okay, but that was before the divorce.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, it seems to me that that Vergara might be the quote unquote majority owner, but I don't think that he has. I don't think he has the votes in the boardroom. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know if he can make any kind of move unless if things move around in there. And of course, the move I'm talking about is getting rid of Higuera, which I'm guessing is what a lot of folks are hoping happens.
Well, that's the whole thing where the club was in massive debt and I think Higuera came in and he brought in some, secured some loans to help pay off some of those debts. But then they did a bunch of bad moves where they lost a lot of money. The whole Chivas TV, losing the stadium naming rights. They lost the T-shirt, the main sponsorship. They were getting sued by Bimbo for 20 million. So they were losing money left and right.
And then they were spending money on top of that because that's and then and all that they were spending money for all these players, of course.
Yeah,
the
I'm assuming
reported number.
Yeah, which I'm assuming they just took on more loans. But they recently, they recently started to patch that up because they returned to Televisa, they returned to Univision by extending the contracts. They finally have a stadium sponsor. They got a jersey sponsor as well.
What is it? Is it like Estadio Bardal or I forget what is it? It was
I didn't even pay attention, Joe. To be honest, I just saw they had a sponsor. I was like, oh, good.
It's gonna be Estadio Chocomilk.
But just the fact that they've been trying to cut player wages, so they're still trying to even the numbers out.
Going back to what you said about the disconnect, Joel, and the fact that that each party had three different messages. The coach, the GM, and the owner. I mean, are these guys even talking to each other?
Yeah.
At all?
Yeah, the rumors was that they weren't, because the rumors was that Vergara has kind of been staying away. And so Higuera's been, and you could see it in the news too when there's like FMF or Liga MX meetings, the guy showing up is Higuera. To the last one, it was Higuera and one of Vergara's sons. So he's I don't know if he's had enough or he's just going through some bad stuff. Hard to tell.
Interesting. Well, hopefully, I just don't know what. The reality is that I don't necessarily think that Alanis is going to play until. Well, they'll have a good novela that they can milk for the first month or so. We'll see how it does, especially if the defense plays badly. If the defense starts playing badly, then they're gonna. It's not going to be good for the front office. For the front office there. Well, gentlemen, we didn't get a chance to talk to before our Christmas, our little Christmas sabbatical. The fact that Tigres won well the clausura, the third the apertura, the third apertura in a row that they won in the Clásico. Of course, the first leg was played in a driving frozen drizzle storm that made it very interesting. And then the second leg, well won by Tigres by winning 2-1. And Tucan has now won 4 championships for Tigres, where in their previous 40 years they'd won 2. So at what point do they name a street for Tuca like they named a street for Bucetich in Monterrey? I mean, when is that going to happen?
A Club World Cup win. No, it'll probably come sooner.
No le voy a discutir con usted.
Why are you throwing shade at Tuca, Dan? You're not a Tuca guy, are you, Dan?
I'm not. I like him. I think he's good. Just don't think he's great.
Well, I don't necessarily think he's great, but I mean, he's been successful everywhere he's been.
I think the team that he has, I think any good manager would, in my opinion, would get similar results with the team that he has.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Tuca won a title at Pumas too with a team that looked nothing like that. So,
hey man, I didn't say he wasn't a good manager. I just think that you're a little bit more willing to overlook the shortcomings.
Hey man, everybody has.
Where I'm not willing to overlook them. I'm keeping them in the equation, and when it's all kind of like.
Hey, everybody has warts.
I don't know, man. That
He is
that, and also the lack of
my
an
coach
international
weak
title
spot.
that's lacking. I think that's lacking too. So like a Conca Champions, that's sorely
Well,
lacking.
let's hope he gets it. Let's hope he gets it.
I do too,
that would
because I
be
think, I mean, ultimately, Tigres is a team that you can count on to be one of the strongest, as far as like, no matter, you know, their current form aside, talent wise, they're going to be one, two, or possibly or even as low as three as far as talent goes. So you want you want the most talented team going to that competition at the World Cup, because at least that gives them the best chance,
right, and
in my opinion.
they changed the format, so it is a
I mean,
straight up.
Pachuca goes there. Pachuca goes out there without Chucky. I mean, like, what's the point, dude?
Isn't it amazing how Mexican teams' luck in the in the Club World Cup? When the first time I think ever they got to play the South American team in the semifinals. Every time it's like every time they would win, when they'd have to beat the team from Casablanca or from Japan or wherever. If they would get, and that was never an easy task for those teams. And then if they got by, they'd always end up playing, Barcelona or Real Madrid a few times. Club America did it finally. They get to play Barcelona. They get just horse whipped, and it was like 4-5-0. It was like they were just, and then the next time they do it, they play when La Volpe took them last year. They played Real Madrid again, and again it was. It was not the America that you want to see. I mean, they were extremely defensive and just hanging on. I mean, just like white knuckling the whole game, and they ended up losing that. So Pachuca finally gets to play the South American team. They're playing. It was Gremio, right? It wasn't that team that they played. And they take them extra time, but they had no goals, so they had no player that can make a difference for them, and they end up losing 1-0. So as you said, if they would have had Chucky, then maybe they would have had a chance. If they would have had their and it just didn't happen. So them's the breaks, I guess, for the Mexican teams in the
But
club.
yeah, so that's
World Cup.
why I personally would like to see Tigres. Hey, and I predict that Tigres would win. So, a little bit because of Tuca and how they looked, especially in the first leg, but also the ability of Monterrey to choke or just to come up short. I felt was strong.
You know what I like about the Clásico Regio is that it seems like more often than not, and maybe you guys that watch the other Clásico can attest, but it seems like it's always like the lifelong guys, the guys that just or like the major blue guys that end up winning those ties. Occasionally it's like the superstars, but it always seems to be like the defender that scores once every 9 months, or or some guy off the bench that is like a been with the team for 15 years or whatever it is. It always seems to be a guy like that decides those, and that's what happened in that one. Joel, was there some unsung Chiva player that scored some huge goal against Club America that he'll be forever remembered for it, or at least forever remembered by you?
For scoring against America?
Yeah, like to win a big Clásico.
Nah, just because we haven't had. I mean, just the recent one we had for Liguilla and we lost.
Oh, so it's because you haven't seen it actually win.
If we're just talking about single performances, not necessarily against a rival, but in a big situation, Chuletita.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere and scored 4 goals.
He'll forever be remembered for that. And
if I'm not mistaken,
he'll forever be the most shocked himself.
Chuletita is the leading goal scorer in CONCACAF Champions League history, if I'm not mistaken.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. I'm pretty sure that's the case. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. I think that's the case. Speaking of the CONCACAF Champions, the format has changed, so it's now going to be round of 16 starting in February, and I guess every 3 weeks or so they're going to play till they whittle it down to the final. So they don't have to play the group stage; they go right into this. I think it's going to make the tournament a lot more entertaining because I think there's going to be some upsets. So I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I am looking forward to it. And America's playing in it, and then so's Chivas and Tigres and Cholos. So there's good representation. Now there is some strong wood in that tournament. Ron, do you want to go back to the Club World Cup? Do you care?
To be honest, not really. I still prefer Sudamericana and Libertadores over that.
Well, this is the hand that they've dealt us. So
I mean, yeah, no, just the winning the CONCACAF is fine with me. I mean, honestly, the Club World Cup, it's like the only reason it matters for even like a Barcelona and stuff like that is just so they could brag about winning this, a double or a triple or a quadruple or whatever. But it's not like it really matters to them.
Do you know who is the club that has won the most CONCACAF Champions titles?
America, obviously.
That's exactly right. With 7, Cruz Azul has 6, Pachuca 5, Saprissa 3, UNAM and Monterrey 3, Toluca only 2.
John, I finally remembered a good.
Yeah,
Sorry,
please,
Ron.
hold
But it just came back to me, dude. Nipples got hard and everything.
Wow.
Wow. You said a memorable goal.
Go ahead.
It was Misael Espinosa. It was a clásico. Ben Hacker was coaching Chivas, so he came back to Mexico, and it was interesting that he went to the rival club. And if I'm not mistaken, the Magister could confirm. So I think America was winning 2-0, and Chivas came back to win 3-2. And this goal was Misael Espinosa, and it was tres toques. So the goalie kicked it, one of the midfielders with his head, prolonged it, and then Misael brought the ball down in the box to score the goal. And I never seen a goal that quick, in Liga MX. 3 quick touches. That was one of my most memorable goals there.
Okay, so that is a good one. That is a good one. Ron, is there a Huila goal that you remember fondly so you didn't have to pound your wall with your fist?
What was that?
It was that. No, just smacking my lips. Edu's goal where it's a header, and I think the pass came from Sage, almost like it was a long pass across the field, and I forget who sent the cross, but he sent the cross with a Rabona, and Edu scored it with a header and stuff. I think that's probably one of the most memorable goals for me for Clásico. In fact, let me try to. In fact, hold on, I'll try to find it.
That was definitely.
What year was that? I mean, we're going into the history banks for these old-fashioned teams like Chivas and America. The new teams are taking over. The Norte.
Okay, all right. That's right. Sorry. It was Tonino's the one that scored it, and it was a pass from Edu. I remember that Edu was involved somehow. But this is like in the kind of like in 1990. This is like one of the years like when I started to watch a lot more soccer.
Retro Ronnie, Beto.
Yeah.
The retro days.
Yeah, this is Retro Ronnie because he likes to reminisce.
Okay.
It's Flashback Thursday.
All right.
What we need to do is we need to pipe in like this is like coming off a record. You hear the record scratch, and then Ronnie tells us, please continue, Ronnie.
All right. This is the one.
We just need some music we need that music like from the NFL films.
No, don't.
Right. I'm putting Cantina MX. I'm putting all you guys on this.
Don't.
John. Oh,
See, Joel challenged me just now, so we're gonna have to.
On the frozen sidewalks of Philadelphia.
Yeah. All right, I posted it. I posted it on Twitter. So check it out.
Yeah, that's
The voice of God.
Man, that's
I
great
got
music, man.
I got to work there for a football season. It was fun.
That's Sam.
That is good music. I could hear like they're like the call of like maybe Clever Boas like knocking in a goal or something. I can see myself giving a bit of a semi over or something like that.
Upper Club. That's what Liga MX needs to do, man. Hire those NFL film guys to do some English content.
Oh man,
history of Liga MX.
We've talked about this before. It's easily the most like brilliant sports film.
They should get the scores from Sam Spence and Basil Polidorus, the dude that did like Conan the Barbarian, like the Riddle of Steel and Riders in the Storm and shit. Like, I mean, those are some great soundtracks, man.
Yeah, Sam Spence. He and Steve Sable never met like in person.
Really?
Yeah, but Sam Spence wrote. I mean, the vast majority. They have some in-house guys that have done a terrific job now, but they said I don't know if they still use Sam or not for at least for some of the orchestral stuff. But I mean, Steve, they did a show on it. Like they spoke on the phone many times. But Sam lives in Munich because it's a lot easier to find symphonies. Musicians that can play that kind of music over there. Than say Philadelphia. So. Yeah, so Sam Spence did all that music in Germany.
That's probably the only time in the history of mankind where it paid off, like for Sam Spence, to get a music degree and get a history degree. Because I remember there was a time with Sable, like there was an interview, and Steve Sable's like, okay, for this scene, I'm thinking like the Battle of Thermopylae and stuff like that. So he would like describe like this is what he's like envisioning. So Sam Spence would like, okay, let me try to let me see what I can come up with, like like this glorious battle. So I mean, yeah, I don't know why Liga MX never did this. They tried it with like the
and I kind of like I like the song that they have at the their official Liga MX song.
Yeah, I did.
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah,
and of course there's the one of the greatest Mexican songs in the world is the Huapango de Moncayo, which is just terrific.
Did we ever get the set flute guy to respond to our request that he could do set flutes for Liga MX theme?
Chiquis,
my birthday's coming up. Maybe we can have a sad flute happy birthday song.
He hasn't responded. I think we need to get out the pesos for him to turn ahead.
They're devalued, but maybe we'll try. All right, did you guys see the video?
I saw it. Yeah. That's before my time, though, Ron.
Oh, in recent, okay, all right. Let me go to 2000s.
I'm from RBD, coming up. You're going way past, yeah.
Let me think. One that really, really got me. Oh, what's his name? He actually ended up playing in your team, Dan Santos, Paquito Torres. In fact, he scored like these two beautiful goals for America, and like after that, they kind of like blew him up and stuff like that. And they're saying that this guy was going to be like Cuauhtémoc Blanco's, replacement, Paco Torres.
I thought More Mosqueda was going to be.
No, it's actually Paco Torres. It was Paco Torres. In fact, I remember they were.
I thought More too was
he was good.
Coming. Oh, he was good.
Paco Torres, you know what, I believe he still is, but he's had a solid career.
No, he's had. He didn't live up to the expectations as far in terms of a national team, but as far as being a journeyman and being productive club, I think he's been wonderful. Same as, like, for example, El Chato Rodriguez, same as el Lucho Perez, the same, like, even as Cuauhtémoc Blanco would call el enano de dos metros, Israel Lopez from Toluca. So, yeah, I mean, those are, journeymen. But it was Paco Torres versus Chivas. In fact, when you first thing that you do is Paco Torres, it was in Clausura 2003. Yeah. Yeah, Paco Torres. I remember those were really nice goals.
Oh, memories. All right, so I have the Conca Champions schedule, and let's have a look here. So Chivas, they're going to play Cibao FC, first-time participant, and Tijuana is playing Motagua, Honduras. America's got a right off the bat Saprissa, so probably the toughest, certainly the toughest. Tigres gets Herediano, so that one's a little iffy. But America with Saprissa right off the bat. How is Saprissa doing? We should contact our fellow ticos to give us a scoop on that. But that would probably be at least the tie with most.
I'll do a little recon with my coworkers and ask them what they think. I work with a number of Saprissa fans.
Really? Maybe we should.
Guadalajara.
Maybe we should invite them on the show.
Yeah, I'll ask them if see if one of them is up to it.
Gentlemen, this is an amazing moment that Profe Uribe has joined us. Profe, how are you, sir?
Hey, John. Good. How you doing, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Profe.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing very well, Profe. How are things in Long Beach?
They're good, man. They're awesome. They're, when Jolie's in town, I think they get a little fabulous too. So.
Wow, I didn't realize that Joel had that kind of effect on the morale of a youth team. That's pretty impressive.
Hey, Jolie's, he's a magnetic personality, man. He's got he's got it.
It appears to be so. Profe, real quick, I know you're a Chivas fan. I'm glad that isn't it amazing when we have all our Chivas fan when there's good juicy Chivas talk, and we have our Chivas experts on with us. So this whole Alanis thing, Profe, you have dealt with front office types yourself. So, ¿qué pedo? What you got?
What do you mean, as far as the Osvaldo Alanis?
Yeah. Tell us your take. Who?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. I need Jolie to break it down for me because, like, I saw Jorge Vergara went public. Like he's been pretty quiet, right? For not getting his name in the news, and now he had this. He went full.
He sent the tweet.
Presidential on us.
He sent the tweet.
Yeah, he sent a.
We read the tweet earlier.
As far as I'm concerned,
we read the tweet earlier. I can read the tweet.
He sent out a tweet, and he pretty much said he don't know that he's gonna get to the bottom of why, Osvaldo Alanis is getting blackballed.
Yeah,
so,
I got it right here. It says.
I wonder.
Ha sido desafortunado el manejo del tema sobre Osvaldo Alanis. No refleja la filosofía del grupo OmniLife, Chivas, donde somos gente que cuida a la gente y tengan por seguro que tomaré medidas para sancionar al responsable. Haremos todo lo posible para que Alanis cumpla su sueño. That's what he said.
So he said he's people helping people, right? Holy shirts and pants.
He is exactly. He is. He's going to get to the bottom. He's going to get to the bottom of it.
Hey Juan, do you agree with or for the Chivas guys? Do you guys agree how Chivas handled Alanis?
Oh, you're late to that party, Ron.
Yeah, they both.
Rewind.
They both.
Rewind.
I can't speak for Juan, but I know that Joel was. Joel, speak for yourself.
No, it's just bad. It's bad from any angle. Everything. It just tells you they're not in agreement.
It was a pretty significant snapshot that gives you a look of how the business of the team is being run.
But I want to tell something to Juwan. I mean, after John read the tweet, I mean, what does that tell you of Vergara's involvement? He's trying to get to the bottom of it. I mean, if he was there, he would already know. Just come
very
out and
presidential
say,
of him, man. That's like, it's like when the president tweets, "Hey, I don't know, he's gonna get to the bottom of, airplane crashes, something like that. He's gonna
yeah,
make
but
sure
they
there's
don't
no
have to look for a
crashes."
black box here. It's pretty obvious he
No,
hasn't been
he's out of
around to.
he's out of touch, man. He's out of touch. He doesn't know. I don't know if Higuera's like running the.
Now, Juan, how could you
You know,
possibly support a team whose owner is so out of touch when you have another team so close to your heart, just waiting and begging for you to give them another look this season?
Well, I talked to Ronaldo de Luna and Jolie, and in fact, all of you guys opened it up that, hey, let's start like a junior MLS club over here on this side. I got the contacts as far as all the youths and the coaches.
What was that? Youths?
Youths.
What was that? Youths?
I saw the Utes play West Virginia at the Heart of Dallas Bowl in Dallas the day after Christmas. The Utah
What's
Utes.
a Ute?
A Ute is a Native American tribe that
Dan, I know you
settled
picked
in
it
Utah.
up.
Yeah. I think John did too, though. I think he just went in another direction on purpose.
I'll say this, and I know that I am in the extreme minority, but I side with los caballeros, el pacto de caballeros.
The gentleman's pact.
Yes, I do. Until and we look at it from, like, for example, here in the United States, obviously the state basically funds and subsidizes player development for the NFL, Major League Baseball, NFL, and stuff like that through from starting from secondary all the way from high school and college.
I'm gonna say yes on the football. I'm gonna say no on the basketball and the baseball. I think all that is
No,
going.
it does, John, because I mean we play junior high baseball. We play junior high basketball.
I understand that, but I'm telling you that kind of like the way soccer is going, that's exactly how those other sports are going too. You have to have money to do that.
I'm curious. I'm just gonna ask a question because I'm curious that I learned of a football academy, pointing ball, here in the LA area, in Norwalk, where the players are. It's like different age groups, like a large age range of players as young as 10. They get a scholarship and they're getting like professional guidance with respect to grades and schoolwork and getting them ready academically and also athletically, skills, etc. for a pro career. I don't know if this is pretty common in a lot of cities.
Well, I mean, there's the IMG Academy that does that for a variety of sports, including football,
tennis, and stuff like that. I mean, I remember in Real Sports when they were interviewing, what's her name, the tennis star, Maria Sharapova, when she was like 12 years old. But no, but going to what I'm saying is, like, to the extent of how much each sport gets, yeah, you can make that argument. But what I'm saying is that it does get subsidized. That's not the case. That's not really the case in Mexico. The money that gets thrown for youth development, and not just in soccer, but just across the board, is pathetic. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Mexico does pretty poorly in the Olympics. And, many Olympians have always said that, they get hardly any public, money, hardly any private money. The money that they do get, really, it's not that they get it, throughout the 4 years. It's only when the Olympics come and companies want to pretend that they're all patriotic and want to make it, that song and dance that, that they value sports and that they, are always promoting and supporting, which is not true. So the reason I'm saying this is because the owners, the Liga MX owners, they're the ones that are taking the risk. And yes, maybe what they're doing is illegal in terms of FIFA. But if you're John, if you're the owner, and Hoyle, you're the owner, and I'm the owner, and we're all owners here, and we all say, you know what, it's not just a one size fits all. We need to protect our investments, and then we all agree, all 18 of us. Then I'm sorry, that's just the way the business is done.
Wait, are you saying that?
I think, Dave, Beto, let me just say this real quick. I think, I see Ronnie's point, but I think also, how does the fan base gonna take this? Because it's what the players were doing is basically a PR campaign in favor of Alanis, and kind of making the owners, presenting them as these bad guys that are just about the bottom line. Even though,
they're hypocrites.
No,
they're
but
complete. They're complete hypocrites. When
Ron, I totally understand what you're saying about that, but sometimes teams, and in this case, Chivas is they are, they're tripping over themselves, and then when they stand up, they're hitting themselves on the head on purpose. They're just.
Well, yeah.
This was the decision they didn't have to make. It wasn't because of the Pacto de Caballo. There's like, okay, so he's not going to play for example. It means he's not going to play for anybody. It just wasn't a smart decision. Period. I understand happening for other players, and I get that, but you make a bad decision and you cover your ass by saying, well, because we've made this bad decision, now all 18 teams have to agree with it, and we're just going to leave it, and then the player gets. It's just dumb.
It's not going to affect them though. I think it's just going to be a blip on their reputation.
Oh, it's not.
It's not going to be severe. And I actually agree with what they're doing. I think that if this guy's already on his way out, who knows if he's going to play his top, and if they're rustled and they just want to stick it to him, then go ahead. It's Almeida's decision to do what he wants.
But it wasn't his decision.
Bench him, do whatever. He can do it.
But it wasn't his decision.
I think players have to be smart enough to learn the game. And I'm not talking about on the field. I'm talking about the ins and outs of how exactly of the business. And the way I see it is like that scene in the movie with Robert Redford and Brad Pitt. They're spies.
In the name of the Father.
Spy movie.
What's that? Spy game. Spy game.
Spy games.
And what's his name? Robert Redford asked Brad Pitt to do something, and he was against it. But the thing almost went bad, and they're on top of a rooftop. And what's his name? Robert Redford tells Brad Pitt, he goes, "You leave. Once you leave this reservation, I'm not coming back for you." So in other words, he was saying, you gotta stay.
He did go back for him.
Well, yeah, obviously, but what I'm saying is that the players also have to be smart, and we've seen it time and time again where a player thinks he's being cute, and he thinks that he's gonna change the system.
So is Vergara Robert Redford?
I don't know.
He's gonna bail Alanis out of the Chinese prison.
Yeah, over Operation Dinner Out.
He's gonna break him out.
Operation Dinner Out. I'm pro gentleman's pact, but I feel
I am, like I said, and I know that I'm in the small minority, but until when the Mexican, when things get better in Mexico in terms of politics and the way daily living and stuff like that, once we start seeing that investment in public education and sports, then yes, I will gladly be against the gentleman's pact. But
But you know what, Ron? I feel in this case that it was I think Higuera, if I'm not mistaken, was just trying to screw over the player. I do think he was trying to milk him, and it just went wrong. And then he just tried to punk him into signing a 6-month extension. But I do feel that he is being mistreated. Like I see sometimes like the differences when some of the other players were they like Pulido. I would say Pulido was being greedy. When he was at Tigres, and Tigres was pretty much doing everything to groom him.
Yeah.
And
remember Loco Garcia from Atlas?
Yeah, he came over here, and he had one good season, and then he wanted, he wanted all this.
And if I recall it, I think it also happened to Jesus Olalde.
Yeah.
It happens to a bunch of guys, and it happens to a bunch of guys all over the place. The problem with Mexico is that there's not enough of those guys.
You know what though? That Chivas is they're hurting themselves by this managing this situation terribly because, as it is, they're having trouble, signing players. And we go back a few years where they were overpaying for players, and I think Joey's made that point a few times where they were overpaying for players just because they had a bad rep, that they were a bad organization.
Yeah, and players that weren't even that good, they were like iffy.
But they're always going to have to overpay for players.
Now, this little Twitter battle that they won, the Players Association. Do you think they're really going to win the war?
But the players because the Players Association has no power. I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
all they can do, all it is publicity. It's just
it's just a
PR
little,
to make them look good. I mean, eventually they may, but I mean, they're at this point they're.
Here's the thing: since the days of Beto's idol, Carlos
how can it affect their attendance numbers?
From the days of Carlos Albert, I mean, he won a legal battle in court against the Mexican Federation, and the people that were supposed to back him, eventually backed out his own players, his own teammates, and everything.
Right.
And this has happened before. And in fact,
same thing. Continue his career after that?
Not really. I mean, yes, he did, but was it ever the same? No, because there was always that stigma, and it's funny because time and time again, someone wants to be the savior, but here's what happens: they do it late in their career when really they're nobodies, or they're like they don't carry the same.
It's like a senator who announces he's resigning or retiring at the end of his term, and then can knowing that he didn't have to worry about getting reelected, can just say what's on his mind.
But usually they do it when they're a little bitter because no team wants to sign them, like in the case of Alex Aguinaga or even Chaco Jimenez or now even Rafa Marquez and stuff like that. So it's like, but at the end of the day, it's people are not really taking these associations seriously because they're getting paid too well. They're not the evil men in long pant suits and stuff like that. They're not as bad as the press makes them out to be. And I mean, if it was, the Players Association would have backed Carlos Albert. They would have backed, the guys that wanted to, remember, Joel, the guys wanted to sit out the Copa America in '93 because of the draft. When it came down to, they made their line in the sand, and they crapped out. It's like, okay, we'll go.
Well, the whole thing about the Albert is it's really tough being the first. But for him, there was no second, immediately after that. So there was no momentum gained by what he had done.
Isn't it not a Pacto de Caballeros thing? Because it's just Chivas that's screwing him. No one else is, if he wanted to go to Querétaro, he probably could have gone. If no other team is involved in this, right? It's just Chivas.
Well, he could go.
I think we could see that if
to another team without any problem.
Okay, so it's just.
Will it be a problem though? If it was a real pacto, where they really want to blackball him, wouldn't they not take him?
There isn't I don't see a reason why any other team would even care. It's just Chivas. They're mad because he wanted a raise. The way I understand it, Chivas is mad. He wanted a raise and he didn't want to re-sign, and now he's going to fulfill his 6 months that are remaining and then get out for free. And Chivas is mad.
Hey Dan,
he's going to get paid to do nothing.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that comedy special from Damon Wayans back in the early '90s?
In Living Color?
I'm gonna say no.
No? Oh, never mind.
So I don't see the Pacto. You're bringing in the Pacto stuff. It's just
bring it. Yeah.
It's just Chivas, but yeah, I don't agree with the Pacto in certain senses. Like if I ain't gonna join with some other owners who's my enemy team, who's my rival and stuff.
But you're not enemies. You're not enemies.
Is have your Pacto?
Maybe not in every aspect,
give the
but
players more freedom. Have both.
Hey, Beto, do you think?
Because don't think that the NFL doesn't have a Pacto de Caballeros.
The MLB, the Major League Baseball has a Pacto de Caballeros. NFL has a Pacto de Caballeros. The NHL has a Pacto de Caballeros. All these owners, they all sit at the round table and they have a Decio de Maria. They have Godel or they have.
NBA has a free agency, man, and I think NFL has something similar, right?
Yeah, but not every league has the same things. and not every league has revenue sharing. Not every league has some.
Well, I mean, some leagues have free agencies. Some leagues give. Some leagues give like a loyal. If they have a salary cap, they'll give like if a team wants to, if a player wants to resign for the same team, they get like a loyalty bonus. This chunk won't count against the salary cap.
Some leagues have guaranteed contracts. Some of them don't have. Some of them don't have.
Does not have guaranteed contracts at all.
Yeah, I think the NBA or MLB, one of those two. I think they do have like a
MLB
guaranteed.
and NBA both.
Yeah, so it's like the point is that each league they have their Pacto de Caballeros, their owners, they have their goon to oversee the day to day, and and like for example in the case of the NFL, that's a Roger Goodell, that's like the Decio de Maria's job.
Well, yeah, I mean that's U.S. sports, but if you compare it to like European soccer and the different leagues,
that's the same thing. Same thing. The FA, like the football league, back in 92, 93, they said screw you, FA, and they formed
and they broke away.
And they broke away. So the Pacto de Caballeros, it's not the evil monster in the room like the Mexican president.
Yeah, again, I don't believe the Pacto de Caballeros, and it's fun because, like you said, I mean, you've pointed out, but to me, the players just have to have a bigger say in their own careers.
True, but here's the thing.
And if that means and I think that they can both coexist very comfortably like that.
With the exception,
come on, it's ridiculous to say, hey, I'm gonna not play this guy, but you guys can't ever play this guy either. What the hell? I'm not talking about just any player.
Well, I think Europe,
if Chicharito comes back, inevitably to Liga MX, if he doesn't go to Chivas. If he goes somewhere else, he can't even do anything until Chivas gets a piece.
I charge for water, John. I charge for water, John. I agree with the owners. I'm kidding.
I think I heard you on, or is that keys rattling?
If you charge for water,
I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding.
No, but if you charge for water and someone comes over to me, I'm not going to be like, hey man, he doesn't charge for water, or he charges for water, so I'm going to charge for water.
Or look at a player like Dano de Nigris, who had to spend his entire career in Turkey because Monterrey froze him out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like if I wanted Pulido or de Nigris or whoever or Alanis, because he's a benefit to my team, I'll take him. I'm not gonna not take him because he screwed Chivas.
Okay, but here's the other side of the coin, Beto. Let's say you spent significant amount of money on a player, okay, and let's say that the contract is up, but but the thing about it is let's say that a team in Europe wants to buy him for let's say $10 million, but what you don't get anything.
Well, what you do in that situation is when the guy's contract is up, you say, "Hey, man, we're going to sign you for a quote unquote 6-month contract." That way, they get a piece of it. That's what they did. That's why that happens. I mean, when Guardado was going to be, he was going to Europe, right? He was, and then he signed a contract for Atlas for like a year or two, whatever it was, knowing that it was so because they could make. So I mean, that stuff happens all the time. I mean, there's some teams that manage that well, some teams that don't.
They're still old, right? Deportivo La Coruña.
That's right, Deportivo. Yeah.
Yeah, but who's going to sign a 6-month extension though? Like if your contract's going to expire and you're ready to go to Europe,
but I don't think he was ready to go. I mean, if he wanted to sign, allegedly wanted to sign a 3-year contract with Chivas. So,
hey guys, I'm still curious. I know we're getting into the Pacto Caballeros. I'm just curious why Vergara made that statement. What is the benefit to him to make such a statement?
Well, he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's getting to the bottom of it.
He's taken to Twitter like the Orange Man.
He's going to get to the bottom of it.
He has the effectiveness in it.
Except his tweets are not nearly as frequent.
Damage control. Chivas is looking bad right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Situation.
How many times have I told y'all, why can't Liga MX and FMF? I mean, what is so hard for them to hire a really good PR person and have a PR person deal with all that?
Who's drinking and who's not passing them?
You know who has
That's me. That's actually me, dude.
You know who had a PR? Chava Iglesias had a PR.
Are you drinking soy, Ron?
No, no soy. It's mineral water.
Soylent.
Peña Fiel.
Soylent protein.
Oh, I
Yes.
love Tehuacan. It's delicious.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
So
I
what
think
was that?
Vergara's
What was
just
your question?
Damage
Juan?
control, man.
Yeah, they're totally
it's
hosed. They made
Vergara.
themselves look so bad.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. They're gonna lose money on this. They might their attendance, the fan base, is not gonna buy the merchandise.
I don't know about that, but I mean, it just looks bad when you have everyone saying different things, kind of playing hot potato. Sending them to the under 20 team, and then when the player union makes a big fuss, all of a sudden, oh yeah, we fixed. The situation has been handled, and then come back to, well, he's not playing because he only has 6 months. But then you look bad because you get Cota for 6 months on loan.
Right. And say he's going to be with us for 6 more months.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's one thing I said. If it's over wages, because that was one of the rumors I heard that the team was trying to cut back on wages on the payroll, then I don't think they should have gotten Cota on loan just to make room, to pay some of these other players, especially the veteran players, just to be able to afford to have them on the roster.
Do you think this increases or decreases Chivas' chances of signing future expats like I don't know, Chucky, Vela, Gio?
No, I just think
Guardado?
they just have to be more smart with the contracts. But those.
You know what half those guys would say when they say, "Hey, who's interested in y'all?"
Chivas, don't make me laugh.
Come on, Juan.
No, but those guys know what's up already. They have really good promoters, and they already know they already know how to play the game.
They'll go into it more cautious.
Well, with more guarantees as well. That's why it's more likely for them to end up in MLS.
It's all got to be in writing.
You're not going to make the right decision every single time. You're going to make some wrong decisions. It's how you handle the aftermath of the wrong decisions. How long are you going to let it affect you? And right now, Chivas is massively letting this bad decision affect them, and they need to tie it off as quickly as possible.
And John, I could see why, like Alanis will want better wages given that he's a national team player, and I haven't seen it, but it'll be interesting to see how much he makes compared to some of the other, the top earners of the club.
Right.
So that could be another reason,
Yeah,
it should be a negotiation. I mean, at 6 months, you can say, "Look, I'm honoring my contract now. I want a 3-year extension," and they have to come back. So, and then it's a negotiation, and you work it out. But if they don't think that he's worth being there for another year, then you take that stance. You know what, dude? After the 6 months,
the thing is, he's as injury prone as freaking what's that? I forgot his name. Already. The defensive mid that Chivas used to have, the ball guy.
Oh, the ball guy.
His name anymore.
Chaton
Enriquez.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
isn't he back at Chivas? Didn't Santos send him back?
Hey guys, I think one of the biggest parts of this whole thing that we're missing about this whole conversation is that we talk about free agency and especially how it's done here in the U.S. with the major sports where the players are free to move around. How different would those leagues be if, say, Jerry Jones, seeing he's got a pretty good team, is missing one piece, goes to the other owner and say, "Hey, I'll pay you $200 million for Tom Brady." Got a few years left on his contract. How different would those leagues look if that's had to? So the fact that clubs, once a player's contract is up, he can go wherever he wants because his contract is up. But so how? I mean, obviously, that's the biggest difference in player movement between soccer and at least the leagues in the United States.
It's amazing we're talking about these antiquated teams like Chivas and America when the Monterrey teams are taking off and they're going to be dominating from decades to come.
We don't know that. We don't know that yet.
Decades.
What is this word? What is this word?
Hey, on another note, I just read lo difícil en el caso de Chivas Alanis no es apoyar una o otra cosa, lo verdaderamente difícil es decir la verdad. And someone responded, lo difícil para ti fue encontrar tus dientes cuando el vengador de Tepito te reventó el hocico.
That's downright poetic, Ron.
Oh man, these responses to Fajitos, man, they're poetic, dude.
It's
Yeah,
like in the bank, huh?
Quality.
These guys, we have so many Nobel Prize,
Beautifully written.
Yeah, and then like
Someone's gonna do a book on that, Ron. Someone's gonna monetize.
It should be us.
The biggest.
You just.
Tuitazos.
It says difícil fue la maniobra que logró hacer Cuauhtémoc Blanco en la ventana del vestidor para darte tremendo y solamente cachetadón. I hope
So there's
continues.
like a
Hey, dude. Soccer Chronicle brings you.
Tuitazos.
This sounds good. Like greatest putazos, dude. A coffee table book.
Yeah, I was
a good
thinking
idea.
the same thing. That
Let's work on it, dude.
Book. Dude,
It's like it would be like the equivalent of Drew Carey's dick jokes. 100 best dick jokes.
right.
100 best putazos a Fajitos.
Here, let's come up with a good name, dude. Offline.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was like really, really like getting depressed because like for like 4 or 5 days he didn't tweet anything, and like that's I rely.
You will wake up in the morning, Ron.
It's like chinga la madre. What's that?
So instead of taking a 15-minute dump, he'll take like a 3-minute dump.
Yeah, it's like it was
First thing in the morning, Ron would check Fajitos' Twitter.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's like reaching over and grabbing your pack of smokes. And what's the last thing you do before you go to bed?
Read his tweets.
It's like tamping one out in the ashtray.
I'm telling you, it's like, and I've made this, comparison. It's like watching El Chavo del Ocho. You know what's gonna happen. You know that they're gonna hit Señor Barriga. You know that Don Ramon's gonna get slapped. You know it's coming, but how it comes, that's what really is the funny part. So it's like that to me is like watching El Chavo del Ocho. I know it's coming. I just want to see it.
My favorite Chavos del Ocho were the ones in the classroom, man. I love Profe Girafales, man. He was just
the classroom was
There was a guy on Big Soccer that used to go by the name El Profe, and his avatar was El Profe Girafales, and I thought that was just fantastic.
But there was also a Chompira.
That's right.
Chompira.
That's right. What a great show. I found out that Chespirito is what it meant was Little Shakespeare. Chespirito.
Yes.
Chespirito. Little Shakespeare, because he was a writer for Televisa for many years before he started performing, right? Ron, wasn't that how he got started?
I'm not sure. I know that I don't think he was like he wrote that long for Televisa or Telesistemas back then. But yeah, I mean, he got hooked up with them, and the rest is history.
When he passed away, I was in Corpus, and just the fact that even like the Casabalon guys in Ecuador were dressed like a chavo, just shows you the impact that he had in Spanish speaking Latin America. I mean, he must have gone from Juarez.
I think Brazil too, John.
In Brazil too. From
Yeah.
Juarez down to Tierra del Fuego. I mean, it was certainly one of the biggest TV stars of in the world. So.
Yeah, and a lot of these dudes that would go up to Mexico games, they would go dressed as Chavo or Chapulín, and they'll get recognized
When I was in Vancouver, there was a Chavo and a Chilindrina and a Chapulín. They were riding the metro with me down to the stadium.
Yeah, it used to be a couple dudes, and then all of a sudden,
there's like thousands of Chapulines.
Yeah, people were getting, just.
That was actually one of my most touching and poignant moments for that. After he passed away, because I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I mean, I grew up watching Chespirito, so I mean, he and I'm sure you guys did too. I mean, he's still on. I mean, the stuff is still on. But that old DC comic when Superman died and they had all the superheroes, and they had his casket, and somebody had superimposed the Chapolin CH heart on the casket instead of Superman's S, was fantastic. Fantastic. One just it really captured the moment.
That was actually one of the first superheroes I saw, Chapulín.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I was a little. I mean, I barely remember, but I definitely remember that.
That was a superpower to get really small.
Yeah.
It's kind of counterproductive.
So.
And the thing with whole Chespirito and this, it was not necessarily an FU to U.S. Superheroes, but it was that Mexico and Latin America needed their own. So that's why he created those the Hispanic or the Latin American superheroes. But he didn't make them with like magical powers and superhuman feats. He basically decided to use what we all have as our humor and our wits and stuff, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he did score. I can't give him the greatest goal in Estadio Azteca history, but
yes,
certainly the second grade.
El chanfle.
Certainly the second grade. Absolutely.
Do you remember when Chamagol would score and he was always he'd always celebrate with Chespirito? But the ones that were my favorite celebration, and I think he did it to your team if I'm not mistaken, Pumas, was that he scored and like El chanfle, he would pull up his pants from the side and then from the front. I thought that was one of the best celebrations that I'd seen in the whole.
Yeah, that you have to give him.
So I was all that up with cause wasn't he a Necaxa fan or was he Americanista?
Who?
Bolaños.
Bolaños was Americanista.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Big time. When the Monty Python does their international philosophy bit, and I think Michael Palin whatever scores on a diving header at the end of it. He always thought that the BBC should include that goal as part of their 100 great goals, videos, and I think that the goal that Chanfle scores at the Azteca there should definitely be considered when they do the Liga MX 100 great goals. It should definitely be considered one of those. All right, gentlemen, we'll wrap it up here on the Cantina MX podcast. Just a brief foray into the first week of Liga MX. It is back, and it actually starts off conveniently enough with Tigres starting to the defense of their title. They're playing at Puebla, where they haven't lost in 10 years, and then Atlas plays León. So some decent games on Friday night. On Saturday, Cruz Azul plays Tijuana, and Monterrey plays Monarcas. Pachuca plays UNAM, and Necaxa plays Veracruz. Veracruz has a new coach, Memo Vasquez, who, at least for Veracruz's sake, I'm sure they're hoping that he can save them from relegation. If he does, then and he's cut loose, which he probably will be, then he's going to get a great shot of doing the exact same thing for Pumas the following year. And then on Sunday, we have quite the roster of games. We have Toluca playing Guadalajara at noon. So that's the other thing, Joel, is that not only do they play at altitude against which is a pretty decent team, they have to do it at noon, where it's it's a stifling 58 degrees in Toluca. It's like really, that sun is just awful. And let's see, we have Querétaro playing América, and Santos is playing Lobos Buap, who I think just need to make 18, 19 points, and they have amazingly have saved themselves from the drop, at least for this year. So good on them if they can keep it up. And that's the. So I believe that Ron is on record. He has added to the official record saying that if VAR goes into effect for the Clausura, then America wins going away.
Yes. Who's so who wins it this year?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So if VAR isn't in effect, then what's going to happen? Who wins?
If VAR is in effect, I think America's going to take it. If it's not in effect, I think, believe it or not, I have a feeling that it's probably going to be Pachuca.
Pachuca. All right.
Yeah.
Ron picks the youngsters who actually played well at the Club World Cup. They ended up in third place in a lot of, at least in the consolation game. A lot of teenagers played that game, and Pachuca is a team that has obviously taken the Bulls by the horn as far as being the club that right now is really working on developing their young players. So Ron takes Pachuca. I'm going to go Chiquis. Chiquis, I didn't get a chance to introduce you because you just kind of hopped on, but glad you're with us. I know you're running late. You were down in San Antonio. Were you on the Riverwalk, Chiquis?
No, I was doing church stuff with the family.
Church stuff with the family. All right. So you've had time to ponder about everything, Chiquis. So who's it going to be? Are you is winter still coming for the rest of Liga MX? The teams from the north?
No, the North are going to continue on. I was watching a hilarious episode of Picante when they were just attacking. They were going off on what's that team from America?
Oh, Toño?
No,
the token Americanista?
No, the owner Americanista.
Peláez?
Peláez. They were going off on Peláez, man, and he was getting rustled because Faitelson and everyone was telling him that Monterrey are the teams. America's, old news. He was like doing his best to defend and like saying, "Oh, but all these refuerzos we're getting and all this stuff," and they're like laughing at him.
That we're getting, so he's still, I guess so. So
you actually comparing.
Which one is it going to be? Chiquis, Monterrey, or Tigres?
Or what are you talking about?
Who's going to win? Who's going to win the title? In addition to obviously introducing you, because we're wrapping up the show. I was asking who's going to win
this last matchup, and I think aren't they getting someone else?
Well, they got the Urrieta Vizcaya guy from Pachuca.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they should take it then.
Okay, so you think that's the move that's going to put him over the top?
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, he's on the Uruguay radar for the World Cup, so I'm sure he's hoping that he has a good season as well. All right, I'm going to move on down to Mr. Preciado over in Escondido. How do y'all pronounce it? Is it Escondido, or how do y'all say it?
I guess it depends on who I'm talking to.
Okay, so you're talking to us, so how would you say it?
Escondido.
Escondido?
All right.
I'll whiten it up, Americanize it.
All right, and if you're talking to, pretend that you're talking to somebody where you would say it differently. Yes.
My parents, Escondido.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Escondido, cabrón. Escondido way. So it's not the biggie or anything like that.
Well, locals like to the snobs in San Diego proper like to refer to Escondildo, which is which I personally don't like. I've grown quite fond of this place.
Sorry, Dan.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Well, Dan, who do you have?
Oh man, I'm struggling with this one. I don't like anybody besides Tigres and Monterrey, and the likelihood for a repeat is pretty low, especially with the extra games going on. Yeah, what the hell? I'll pick them. I'll pick them again. What the hell?
Who?
I'll pick Tigres.
Tigres. Yeah. Are they gonna do the double? Are they gonna do the double?
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're gonna eke into the playoffs. I haven't seen the calendar, but I'm assuming that maybe the games will be over and they'll be able to concentrate on Liguilla.
All right. So Tigres, and what about Conca Champions? They're gonna take that one too.
I'm hopeful. Yes.
Well, at that point, if that happens, will you be able to put your put your hands on Tuca's shoulder and say, "You're finally a man," and you can.
I
You,
want
you
to
can move
believe,
on
dude.
from your. You can move on
I
from
want
your
to believe.
Tuca hate. All right.
I want to
Fair enough.
believe.
So Dan says Tigres double Joel. And now before we go get to Joel though, I'm sure I know that Rigo dropped off, but I'm gonna make a proxy pick for Rigo and say he's picking Chivas.
He's picking Chivas. Yeah.
Rigoberto is going to pick Chivas. So Joel, what you got?
John, I think you called it at the beginning of the show. I think you went with Cruz Azul. This could be the year, man. This could be the year they get their
Cruz
mojo
Azul.
back. Teams, it's a World Cup year. Some of these South American players are gonna have to pass, and I think they might, ease off of the pedal as the league is coming to a close. Already locked in to represent their national teams.
Are you
I think this is.
Are you saying that they're going to win in Pro de
What happened, Ron?
2018? Are they going to win in Pro de 2018?
Pretty much, man. I think that, but this is my prediction. I always make a second one at the midseason.
Yeah, me too.
Because things change a lot. You could have an injury, you could have different coach, whatever. Different. The situations change. But right now, I'm liking Chafa Azul. I think.
So you say you reserve the right at midseason to modify your prediction.
But I mean, you could still call me on that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not calling you anything because, frankly, I'm actually pinche Joel because Well, I mean, I had picked Cruz Azul to win the Apertura, thinking that they're starting to turn the corner, and now, I'm kind of, I'd like to see it happen for them, but so you kind of did steal my thunder a little bit on that, but that's okay. I have stolen your thunder many times on this show, so.
Yeah, no, I saw it. Like I do think they managed to improve, and they had some good stats under James. Possession and other stuff like that. It's just the coach was just he was very controversial, trying to get people to fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, he for whatever reason didn't seem to mesh with the whole Liga MX thing, unfortunately. So it seemed like if he would have just let it happen, I think that he would have.
Yeah, and then the whole not calling the team.
Just adapt to the culture a little better.
But I think.
Go ahead.
What happened? No, I think Caixinha could build on what the team has been going. He could build on top of that, and they got some decent players there.
And again, I mean, let's be honest with Cruz. I know that they've had a rough couple of years, but this is a club that traditionally has been very strong for a very long time. So there's no reason to think that they're going to be like a 4 or 5 year funk. A 2-year funk happens. 3 years is like totally unheard of for them.
And they do have Carlos Fierro now, so that's a plus right there.
And you think that Chivas is going to have to pay the iron price when they play? You think that Carlos Fierro is going to be the one that what would you do, Joel, if he celebrates like a madman? Or do you think?
No, I mean I'll be glad for him, but I.
Or would you rather see him not celebrate? Just go, hey.
No,
Here's a high five. Here's a high five.
No, I always want Mexican players to do good, especially those falling on the wayside. I checked up on Chaton. He's on loan at Puebla.
Yes, he is.
There's another guy that we're hoping for.
Chaton is gonna be like the early version of Dark Phoenix. He's gonna rise and make it to the World Cup. No, I think Cruz Azul is a really good pick. I mean, honestly, right? I mean, at this point, it's the usual suspects between Cruz Azul, América, Tigres, and Monterrey. I also wouldn't mind adding León and even Monarcas to the mix. I think that they both have I mean, they made the Liguilla last year. I mean, they León gave Tigres fits and Monarcas. They kind of got the shaft as well a little bit on their as far as refereeing goes. So they certainly have some dark horse potential, but I do think that ultimately at the end it's going to be. I think Monterrey is going to take it. I think that it's they're not going to have to deal with Conca champions. I just think that they're going to be in good shape to and it had to hurt them. It had to hurt them. I mean, for one, Pachuca to win a title before they did in their stadiums, but to see Tigres run around that stadium.
That's
with that trophy
think,
before
it won't happen this next season, John. Because of the hurt, I think it's going to linger a bit.
Really, you think that they won't be able to get over it? You think it's going to
linger enough
for the whole season for Monterrey? It's just going to. They might as well just start pumping this in the at the tamalera because everyone's going to be so upset.
I'll be choosing them next season.
Oh, so you think that there's going to be a season-long hangover, but they'll get over it? Interesting. Let's start writing some of this stuff down. Now, before we go, I know that not that we're trying to hit a number or something, but I do want to Ron, and I need to get some pen and some paper here to write this down because we've all made our World Cup predictions. So, and we all kind of made them like just like first instant reaction to see how things worked out. So we're gonna do that with you. So before you go to sleep, we're gonna see how things work out for you here. So let's get the. Oh, perfect. Here's a downloadable PDF. That should work. All right, here we go, Ron. Group A has Russia, as you know, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay. Who advances out of Group A?
All right, let me look at the groups. Hold on, let me get them.
No, all right. Call the group. Give me a chance to get a pen and paper.
What cup?
Okay. Pen and paper. I know that this is very exciting radio as Ron looks up the groups. I got the groups right here, Ron. So.
All right, so who did you, I'm sorry.
So Group A: Russia, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, and Egypt. Those are your four. Who advances out of that?
Uruguay and the host.
Uruguay. Okay, and who's first? Who's in first and who's in second? Uruguay first.
Yeah.
All right. So Uruguay first. Yeah. Russia second. So you think Russia's going to beat Egypt? All right. A lot of us had picked Egypt there actually. So interesting. Group 2, we have Morocco, Iran, Portugal, and Spain.
I think it's the Europeans, Spain and Portuguese in Portugal.
All right, so Spain and Portugal.
And I think Portugal goes number 1. I think
Portugal, right?
I think Spain's going to play possession and like they always do, and I think Portugal's going to. I think they'll edge it out, playing the counterattack.
All right, now here this group's a little interesting. We got France, Australia, Peru, and France.
I'm gonna have to go with Peru and France. France 1, Peru second.
France and Peru. France and Peru.
Do you know how offensive that is? Like we're Peruvians.
All right. All right. Now we have Group D: Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, and Nigeria.
Argentina, obviously. I think they'll pick it up. And I want to say Croatia.
They finally break through again, Croatia. All right. Group E, we have Costa Rica, Serbia, Brazil, and Switzerland.
Brazil and Switzerland.
Brazil and Switzerland. All right.
In that order.
Okay. Group F, we have Germany, Mexico, Korea, and Sweden.
I'm going to go with Mexico and Sweden.
Wow. So not even the Germans, huh?
Well, right. Hey, I like history. And if you notice, and it happened, And it's happened quite a bit in these past World Cups where the World Cup winner bombs in the first, doesn't make it.
All right.
You know, I think it happened to the last 4 out of 5 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So there's going to be a surprise there.
Okay. That's a big surprise. And who wins the group?
Mexico.
All right. Group G, we have Belgium, Panama.
And for the record, it's because of Mexico, not Osorio. And you know, I'm kidding.
All right. You have Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England. Let's go with the Canareros and an upset.
I do. For some reason, I think they will. I think it's going to be Belgium and Panama.
Whoa! All right, Belgium and Panama. Okay, and then finally in Group H, we have Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan. Nippon.
I think it's going to be Nippon and Colombia.
And who's the first?
Colombia.
Colombia and Japan. All right. So now we have a round of 16. Your first round of 16 matchup is Uruguay against Spain. Ooh, that would actually be that you're gonna have to pay money for this. That one. That would be excellent. Uruguay, Spain. So who you got?
Uruguay.
Uruguay. All right. Next we have C1, D2. So that's going to be France, Croatia.
La France.
La France. Let's put that on the bracket. France. All right. And then we have next one's going to be hang on a second. Okay. And then we have this thing's totally okay. All right, here we are. Sorry about that, Ron. Just a little confused here. All right, so C1, D2, and the next game we have is Portugal and Russia.
Portugal.
All right, and then we have Argentina, poor Argentina, or poor Peru. They play Argentina.
Argentina.
All right. And then in the next bracket, we have Brazil against Sweden.
Brazil.
All right, and then they're going to play G1, H2, so that's going to be Belgium against Japan.
Belgium.
Going with the Belgians. All right. And the next one is F1, E2. That's going to be Mexico, Switzerland.
Mexico.
All right. And then to round that one off, it is oh no, it's over here. It's Colombia, Panama. Oh, a border war.
Colombia.
Okay. So I believe that we have then for the first quarterfinal for you, Ron, it's Uruguay, France.
Ooh. France.
All right. And your next one is Portugal, Argentina. That'll be a great game. That we finally see Ronaldo against Messi.
I think the counterattacking would be. I think counterattacking is going to be, and who knows how to do it well better. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Portugal because Argentina, knowing they like to play with possession.
Well, their strategy is give it to Messi and hope he scores.
Yeah. So
I mean, I wish I was kidding, but that's really their strategy.
Yeah.
With all those incredible players, the only thing they can figure out what to do is to try and give it to him, see if he can score. Okay, Brazil, Belgium.
Brazil.
All right. And the last quarterfinal rematch of sorts, Mexico, Colombia.
Mexico.
So then that will have Mexico play Brazil in the semis.
Bye-bye, Mexico.
Adios. Adios.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios.
Picanar. So.
And not because they played better. It's just we got screwed. I can already see it. I'm already picking my wall to stab.
Yeah, but right.
Yeah.
And France, Portugal. France, Portugal is your other semi.
France.
Oh, so then a rematch. You have Brazil, France, and the.
And if it's France, Brazil, for some reason, the last times they've played, France has their number. I still think I don't see an American team winning it just yet. I think it's going to be European still.
So he's going La France.
La France.
Yeah, vive la France.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
as much as my logic is telling me that it's going to be the Germans. I don't know. It's just I think. It was an article that I read.
It's not as if they've coasted through group stages lately. So I mean,
no. And I read that something that they're starting to, like, I think the coach said that they're a little worried right now, or he's worried about the team and stuff like that. And like I have to find the article, but if it's true, that's that's got it's got me wondering. And like I said, France, after winning the 2098 World Cup, they crashed first round in 2002. Italy crashed the following after winning the World Cup. Spain crashed after winning the World Cup. So it seems like the only team that didn't crash after winning it was Brazil in 2002. Going into 2006. But it seems like the European teams that have been winning, they crash out the following World Cup. I don't know, maybe that's a tradition,
Wow. Well, we'll see how that plays out. That is certainly very different than the picks than most of us had, for sure. So we'll have to, as the World Cup draws near, we'll have to. I guess we'll get to do like our initial ones, and then as Joel says, as news happens and things play out for like just this week, Manchester City lost two guys that are massive national team players for their respective countries in that Gabriel Jesus kid, who in my opinion is going to be the breakout star of this World Cup. And, and De Bruyne.
I was trying to pick teams that I know that I've seen counterattack well. For some reason, it seems that teams right now that are counterattacking seem to be winning.
Yeah, but Brazil is so close to playing with a smile on their face again. It's like really scary. So hopefully we'll see. And honestly, if it does happen and Mexico plays them, and at some point, whether it's the round of 16 or in the semifinals, which is the only other place they could meet. Yeah, I mean, if you run into Brazil with a smile, if you can beat that, then you have a really good team. Because I mean, Brazil is going to be, they're going to be great, and if they're playing, if they're in a good mood, they're going to be super duper great. And that's, I don't think that people that are younger than us have seen a truly great Brazil team, like that just play just flawless and effortless, and
they had Cafu
and they score just crazy good goals.
Zé Roberto, those guys, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that 2002 team was close. I mean they won the World Cup. I mean they had moments like that goal that Rivaldo scored against England right at the end of the first half was I don't know if it'll ever make greatest goals lists, but holy smokes, what an outstanding goal to play the entire thing on one foot, and right at the very end switch his body enough that he can shoot with his other one and just put it in the corner. Just outstanding. What a great team that was. Rivaldo and all that was just outstanding. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't even the best player. Just crazy.
One other thing, as far as we we picked who was going to win the Clausura.
Right.
Who's going to get relegated?
I hope it's not Veracruz because them because I want for Memo Vasquez's sake, just because I think he's a really good coach and it's definitely a big this is a huge obstacle to overcome, and then if he can do it, then he's earned himself a reputation to where he can do this for other teams, which it's like another tool in his resume.
The one that's obviously right now relegated is Veracruz. They have the coefficient of looking at points here.
Yeah, look at points.
They have 88 points. Querétaro has 96 points. Then you have Atlas and Puebla that have 101 points. You have Santos Laguna with a 104 and Cruz Azul with 109. I think Santos and Cruz Azul, I think they're okay. I even think Atlas is going to be okay. I think it's going to be just Querétaro and Veracruz, just those two teams that are really. I don't even think that Puebla is going to get into it. I mean, you're talking from 88 to 101.
Right.
Know? So
I think that. And how many points? So there's an 8-point difference right now.
Yeah, 8-point difference between Querétaro and Veracruz. I mean, I kind of have a soft spot for Veracruz, and for all the wrong reasons. Part of it has to do with
they're. They must have a seriously powerful a base of families because they. I mean, I can't think of a team that's been relegated more since. At least in the past 20 years in Veracruz, and they never play their way back in. They seem to always buy their way back in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they must have just a serious amount. Somebody has a serious amount of pull. There must be, I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, it's an old city, which means that there are families that probably have just insane amounts of money that can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but like I said, that's the stadium where Faitelson got famous.
Well, sure.
That's
I would love to do. Jason Markets was telling us about that. He says it's the drinking is crazy there.
They should do. You know what the stadium should do? Like a kind of tour. You could go take a picture. Like you could take a picture right there, and then your friend could go in the back and punch in the head, and or they could just have a hand already, like a mannequin hand just sticking out. And then you go take a selfie at that spot.
Over the holidays, I watched the movie "Romancing the Stone," and although the movie was set in Cartagena, Colombia, the movie was actually filmed in Veracruz, around the city and the state of Veracruz. And I just when I was watching the movie, I kept thinking of Faitelson, Pirata Fuentes. But anyhow,
yeah. See, Pumas is totally screwed as far as relegation because they have a season where they got 35 points, and that season falls off the books. Falls off the books next year. So I mean, just getting 20 points. That's going to be they're going to drop 15 points if they by just by getting 20 points. I mean, Pumas has to get a minimum of 25 points for them to be, not terrible because they're going to have to carry an 18-point season and a 13-point season for the next 2 years in the relegation. So Pumas is going to be in relegation hell for the next 2 years, as is Querétaro.
And this goes back, and I'm looking at the table right now. This goes back to what I said a couple of weeks ago when I said that America was in a crisis when they were in the final, because if you look at the points, Monterrey has 149, Tigres has 139, and America has 139. Keep in mind, this is all the great Tigres with 139 points, and America with 139 points, identical. And let me quote my cousin Vinny, identical.
That was a pretty southern accent, man. You're a hick. You're a real hick, dude.
What's that, Beto?
I said that was a pretty good southern accent. You're a real hick.
It was, isn't it? When they were, They had the FBI agent.
You know, and
Identical.
and Atlas, if they if they don't have a major collapse, which it's still Atlas, so they lose a 17-point season and a 14. So they're going to be out of this mess, if they can survive. And Santos is they're kind of like Pumas. They're in danger of but they lose a season that goes 7, so they'll probably go up some.
I mean, well,
Puebla loses a 27-point season too. So if Puebla stays up, it's going to be Puebla and Pumas next year for relegation, for sure.
Yeah. Monterrey's fine. America, Tigres, Toluca, they're fine. León is fine. But
oh yeah. I mean, Santos will probably, with every decent season, they'll be okay. Cruz Azul, if they have a decent season, they'll be okay. But the ones that are going to be in trouble are going to be Puebla, because they lose one to 27, and Pumas, which loses that. That 35. If they had lost those 15 points now, they would be in third from the bottom.
Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, so they're going to be in trouble.
Is that's the year that they
made the final?
That they cheated their way into the final? I mean, made it to the final.
How did they cheat?
By breaking our poor legs.
Oh, I looked at that play again, and the picture makes it look like that he had actually made contact before the ball was kicked, but that contact actually happened after Cortés got to the ball first and kicked it. The Güemes. And poor Güemes. I think it's terrible what happened, but it wasn't a dirty play at all. But Güemes obviously was never the same player, and he's like, he's nowhere near. He is. I forget where I saw him play, but I was like, man, poor guy. He just hasn't been able to come back to it, and it's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking because he was decent. He definitely had a future ahead of him.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate.
So who gets relegated? I say Veracruz gets relegated.
They have to make up 8 points, so I think you're right, and again, maybe that'll free up Memo to come coach.
And Tena, Luis Fernando Tena is coaching Querétaro, so they do have an experienced coach there.
So he gets the punch. He gets the punches card. I think that Flaco Tena is like the Loco Abreu of coaches. He has coached, at least in Mexico, has coached everywhere. Loco Abreu is going to play for his 27th team coming up. So
Jesus.
isn't that crazy? That his 27th team. So Flaco Tena has probably coached for like 10 or 11. So I say that Joel, who's gonna be relegated? Joel.
Oh man, who's at the bottom?
Veracruz has 88 and Querétaro has 96, and Puebla and Atlas each have 101. So they're 13 points clear.
Oh man, let me see. I need to see Veracruz calendar. Okay.
Beto poses the identical.
Their calendar's not too bad. I think Querétaro gets saved though. Might be between Puebla and Veracruz. Whoever pays their players on time, John.
Well, it won't be Puebla. Well, although Veracruz is.
Yeah, they're like that Curica or whatever.
Now Veracruz, they get a lot of heavies at the end, so. And they get Puebla right at the beginning. So right in the first 2 weeks, they can actually they get Querétaro and Puebla both in the first month of the season. So they can, if they don't get any points out of those games, then they're toast for Veracruz.
Yeah, and Veracruz.
Because that's where you can make a 6-point difference.
Well, their last games going into like the last half, they host Tigres, then away to Morelia, they host Atlas. They have 2 games in a row, and then Tijuana, then they travel to Chivas, host León, and then they close against Toluca and Cruz Azul.
And they have their away to Puebla and away to Querétaro in the second and fourth match or jornada. So, again, to me, if they can directly make up ground against those guys in those 2 games, then I think that their season's going to be over before they have to play any of those. That they could be done with 2 or 3 to play. If they don't
Yeah.
get points from those, they have to get points from those.
Puebla starts against Tigres, then they travel to Morelia, and then they host Veracruz, which is going to be the 6-point game.
Right.
Puebla's their calendar seems a bit more accessible. So I'm gonna say, even though Veracruz surprised us last time, I'm gonna say Veracruz.
You're being very scientific, Joel. What does your gut say?
It's between those two, but I'm gonna say Veracruz, man.
And
Cruz
okay,
goes
so they get
down.
relegated, and how many years do you give them before they're back?
They're gonna go down. I also think the league's been trying to get rid of that owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've been trying to get rid of that owner. I think that's a good venue and a good team and chip.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly one of the historic
Flourish
teams for sure. And they always seem to sell out their stadium. It's a very intimate little spot, and it's got to be humid as hell playing games there.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like you said, if they can get a different ownership group, if they get relegated, maybe we will see them back. Now I haven't looked at the list, and I'm not sure who was it that won. Was it the team from Juarez that won the Ascenso? Or no, it was the Alebrijes, wasn't it, from Oaxaca?
Man, I stopped paying attention to.
I'm gonna have to go low. Well, I mean, I was paying attention. I just forgot.
No, I did, man. And then the whole Lobos Buap, Lobos Buap making it first kind of got me from surprise. I only knew about them because I think that was the last club Matador Hernandez played for.
It was the Oaxaca, Alebrijes de Oaxaca.
It was. That's what I thought. But they can't make it because their stadium is not Liga MX ready.
I want Tampico Madero. That's what I want.
Yeah, they've been there before.
They lost to Juarez. I want Tampico Madero.
Well, they're going to have to win. And Tampico Madero, if I'm not mistaken, does have a stadium that meets the requirements.
I would like to see, and I'm betraying myself a bit, the San Luis, Atlético San Luis. I want to see what they bring to the table.
And let's not forget that if a team that wins the Ascenso playoff does not have a stadium that is that meets the requirements, I think only 6 of them do, then no one gets relegated. So Veracruz could save themselves.
And I think they could, but I think like a team like Atlético San Luis, normally they would probably have a hard time getting players within the league, but because the league just has this, open door policy on foreigners, it'll be interesting what kind of players they would bring in.
Right.
They already got what was that dude? They signed some dude. Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you, a team that has, for some reason,
Sissoko. There you go, Sissoko.
The lines of communication with Spain is Pumas. Pumas has signed their 3rd Spaniard in like 4 years. So obviously they seem to have an interesting connection with a Spanish promoter, or at least a promoter of Spanish players. And hopefully this one will work out because the previous 2 have not necessarily been the most stellar of signings. But I agree with you, Jorge. I think it'll be Veracruz that gets relegated, but I don't think that they go down because I think that a team that is not worthy of promotion to Liga MX will win the Ascenso. So there will be no relegation this time around, is what I think will happen. So, gentlemen, it was a great.
Wait, John. They could always sell the franchise.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's how they. Well, that's true.
But I mean, if you're Atlético San Luis, you could just buy it.
That is a wrinkle, Joel, that you're. Well, but what's to stop Veracruz from doing the same thing? But so
Just
well,
money, because I think they were kind of broke.
Isn't this year the final year of the multipropiedades too? By the way, the multi-property.
are we supposed to believe that?
Yeah, I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that for 10 years now.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I remember when America got rid of their teams.
Leon is they're sharing sponsor. Well, I think it's actually the parent company.
Wait,
Cementos Fortaleza is now sponsoring Leon.
Didn't Slim just move his shekels to Pumas?
Let's hope so.
I was hearing
I am perfectly okay that that if we need a sugar daddy, that he'd be the guy to have.
What did you say, a sugar daddy?
Yeah,
yeah.
Send the Pumas are the sugar babies.
That's right, like Slim Pickens was with Oklahoma State for all those years, and Mattress Mac for the city of Houston. Oh, the Mattress Mac is a badass. I'm not gonna lie. He's a great Houstonian. But no, I mean maybe that's why Pumas was rated so high on the most powerful financial or teams financially in the world of soccer. Maybe it's the recently.
Who was it? Elias Ayub? Is that his?
That's his
nephew or something.
It's yerno. It's his
yeah. Didn't he just return to Pumas?
Well, I don't know if he returned to Pumas, but I know that he was criticizing Pumas.
From your lips to God's ears, if it is.
I know that he was criticizing the Pumas front office, and he even tweeted and I'm not trying to push myself onto the team. He did tweet that, but since I can remember, Pumas,
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm going to be disrespectful.
yeah, with all due respect.
Yeah,
I said with all due respect, but anyhow, Pumas has always been associated with old money, Banamex, that type of money. They've always had people with deep old pockets, and why they always, well, I don't know, but
they spent a lot of money on the development of the kids, and did very well for a long time, but they've kind of gone away from that.
That bothers you.
It has. Well, it should bother everybody, and it does bother me. And I mean, to me, if you're not going to do that, and then bring in the players that you're bringing, then you deserve to be relegated, frankly.
Oh, okay.
Because you're just not taking it seriously. But he's not back. Okay.
He's not. Sorry to get your hopes up.
Why'd you do that to me, Hoy? That was a big old
no, because I've been hearing rumors. No, I have been hearing rumors that they wanted to set up something similar. But it doesn't
surprise me, though. Isn't that what the Patronato was, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it might be a possibility if it goes of another bad season, If Pumas has another bad season, I do think this dude could come in and help.
Well, they're going to have, Pumas has to make, at least 20. If they made 25 points, it would be fantastic, but 20-point minimum for sure. They only made 13 points. How can you play 17 games and only get 13 points? That means that you lost at least 10 games. It's terrible. It's terrible. So hopefully they'll get it together. And see, now I feel partly responsible because I was giving you and the profe so much crap for when Chivas was in this mess. That it's karma. It's karma coming back to bite me in my butt. So I'll learn. I learned my lesson. If Pumas can survive this one, I will have learned my lesson, and not tempt fate like that again. Okay, so Joel, can we go ahead and wrap up the show now, or you have
no? I'm done.
Last minute okay, no more last minute interjections.
No more. No.
Well, guys, it was great to be back with you all. Our first show of 2018. Again, it's going to be a great year. We got a World Cup year. The new Conca champions. I think is going to be really interesting. The FA Cup starts again. Or it doesn't start again, but it resumes, and so it's just the second half of the year with all the cup finals and stuff is always exciting. And then we have the the World Cup to boot. So it's for you folks that are listening, please keep listening. I know that we will make a concerted effort to get more content up for you guys to to drive home with, etc. I almost feel like during the World Cup that we should do like a daily show, honestly. Just because I mean everyone's gonna
For most of the games, I'm gonna be available, John.
Yeah, so I think that's something that'll be some fun. Or at least whoever watched, I think we could certainly put together a show. But anyway, we'll talk about that at another time. But we do thank y'all for listening here on the Cantina MX podcast. My name is John Jagu. We had with us Daniel Preciado and Rigoberto Ayala joined us. Profe joined us for a little bit. Profe Juan Uribe, and of course Chiquis Albert Campa, our technical director, who was able to pop in, and you gentlemen. Joel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure.
And thank you, Ron. That was a very entertaining show. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for listening. And again, you can listen to this and all of our previous podcasts on iTunes, and we'll be on every Thursday night, and more than likely more shows beyond that as well. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening to the Cantina MX podcast. We'll see you next week.